Chapter 230. You have attained Chongding. When Hong Heiyu saw Jiang Li for the first time, his eyes were filled with obvious surprise. Then he shook his head. What a pity, what a pity! I have comprehended Chongding in my battle with Meng Xingyun and obtained first place. This is a joyous occasion. Why are you sighing? Jiang Li didn't understand. The wind and clouds are rising, the thunderclouds are moving, and the world is bleeding. Hong Heiyu took 2 steps forward. You have comprehended Chongding and obtained an indomitable spirit. Your strength has increased greatly. This is a joyous occasion. However, it is a troubled time now. The natives of the Emperor Star are restless. A great massacre is unavoidable. The world is bleeding. If you didn't cultivate the body of the great emperor, you wouldn't have been chosen by the higher-ups. However, you have obtained first place, and your cultivation is profound. You will have to participate in this calamity and fight against the native cultivators of the Emperor's Star. That is why I am worried. Secondly, if you had advanced to the embryonic breathing realm, you would still have a chance. Embryonic breathing realm cultivators can circulate energy and absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. They are psychic and have supernatural powers. However, you have cultivated the seal of the great emperor. It will be very difficult to cultivate the body of the great emperor to a small success, let alone advance to the embryonic breathing realm in a short period of time. Jiang Li was very clear about this. The body of the great emperor to a small success required a lot of energy. A few thousand kilograms of spiritual stones in a mineral vein wasn't enough for him. Furthermore, he had to raise a huge being like the Queen Mother. Even if he had one of the top 500 companies in the human world, he would still be able to run out of resources, especially the Queen Mother. She was a killing machine that could occupy a planet. She could shake human civilization. The amount of energy consumed was unimaginable. The most important thing now is to speed up your cultivation. The more power you have before the calamity, the safer you will be. Hong Heiyu looked at the Queen Mother again. Your friend, Little Emperor, it is time to impart all the seal of the great emperor to you. Little Emperor? Jiang Li tried to communicate with Little Emperor telepathically. Little Emperor woke up from a deep sleep. Suddenly, the crystal cells on the ground wriggled and formed a person. This person gradually changed and gained color. It was exactly the same as a real person. It wore white clothes and looked like an ancient great heavenly venerate. It had the heart to save the poor and the true meaning of killing. It was Little Arch. Jiang Li, you finally settled down. Congratulations. Today, I'll teach you the great emperor's seal in one go. I hope you'll be able to learn it and become the great emperor of the galaxy. You'll be able to turn the world around and create a new civilization. Lil Monarch's tone was a little different. All right. Jiang Li was shocked and quickly bowed to express his respect for the Dharma. In the past, Height cut off his arm to seek the Dharma from Bodhidharma Zen master. Although he was not like this, his respect for the Dharma came from the bottom of his heart. Little Arch moved. In an instant, an unparalleled what was transmitted into his mind, manifesting all kinds of changes. The other 5 seals of the great Emperor's seal kept attacking his mind. Each seal contained millions of changes, causing his mind to feel as if it was about to explode. Countless views of the world came flooding in, completely overturning his previous understanding of the world. The entire world, the entire multiverse, was presented before him in a dense manner. He was like an ancient person who came to the modern world and was suddenly instilled with countless modern knowledge. He would definitely not be able to withstand it and collapse right away. The entire universe was inexplicable. It was not a sphere, nor was it a square, nor was it a wormhole formed by multiple dimensions. Instead, it was an inexplicable thing that had rules and no rules at the same time. It was neither formless nor formless. It was indescribable with words. Suddenly, Jiang Li thought of saying, "Formless, not formless." It meant that the entire universe was neither formless nor formless. What exactly was it? No one could figure it out. The entire universe was non-thought and non-thought. In other words, it was neither sentient nor formless. That was the Tao. The Tao could be explained, but it was not the Tao. It was indescribable, but it could only be experienced. Zhongli received the inheritance of the great emperor's 5 seals and combined them with the 4 seals. What year was it today? He felt that his life was both a dream and not a dream. There is no distinction between the void realm and the real world. After imparting the technique, little emperor disappeared. Meanwhile, Zhongli was still standing there in a daze, motionless. He seemed to have fallen into the deepest level of thinking and was unable to extricate himself. That was him starting to digest and comprehend the Tao. After a full 3 days and 3 nights, his eyes flickered and returned to normal. How is it? Hong Heiyu stood there with a smile on his face. He had been observing Jiang Li's changes for the past 3 days. He noticed that his aura was unstable, but his spirit was constantly growing. There was no regression or decline. He could not help but feel relieved. Although I've learned the great emperor's 9 seals, I've only just begun to understand it. Zhongli thought about the changes carefully. My foundation is shallow, and I have to work hard to connect each seal. The last 5 seals are simply stealing the fortune of heaven and earth, especially the last seal of dreams. I think it's strange and confusing when I think about it. It seems that my cultivation is not enough to go deeper. The great emperor's seals are getting harder and harder to comprehend. I am often confused about the last seal of dreams and am unable to comprehend it. But as long as I comprehend the heaven-human transformation, I will know that it won't be difficult for me to advance to the state of oblivion. Hong Heiyu had also learned the great emperor's 9 seals. However, he had a new understanding and change. There are 3,000 great Taos, 1 for each. Instructor, you're starting to comprehend the state of oblivion so soon. You must be determined to break through to the mixed origin breath, right? Jiang Li's eyes lit up. That's right. Hong Heiyu said, I've already used up the thousands of kilograms of spiritual stones mined from this mine. Also, I have recently comprehended the Empress Mother's technology and obtained the way to transform energy and flesh. Also, I have gained a lot from discussing the path with Little Emperor. Although my body cannot be transformed into a pure body of the Great Emperor, I have my own understanding. With the Great Emperor seal as the foundation, I can create genes that are suitable for me. Hong Heiyu was right. He was now cultivating the body of the Great Emperor, which was not pure. It was like a person reading the books of sages. He could use the ideas in the books to obtain results, but it was impossible for him to become a sage himself. Of course, the benefits of this series of changes to Hong Heiyu were self-evident. His cultivation had increased greatly, and he was only a step away from the 3rd tier of the embryonic breathing realm, mixed origin breath. If he broke through to the mixed origin breath realm, his position as the vice principal would be stable and irreplaceable. Teacher, if you break through to the meditative memory realm with the power of the great emperor and the Empress Mother's technology, you can run for the position of the president of the human race. The election is held once every 4 years, and it will expire next year. Jiang Li's eyes suddenly flashed. With Hong Heiyu's current cultivation, if he improved further on the mixed origin breath and advanced to the meditative memory realm, he could even go to the elite zone to be a member of parliament and run for the position of the human race's president. The human race now had an election system, and the president was elected once every 4 years. However, the president did not have much power. Things had to go through many members of parliament, and if he did something wrong, he would be impeached. However, he was a representative and a symbol. Of course, he had some privileges and represented a huge interest group. The current president was a Caucasian called Slok. This person was unfathomable, and he was very good at politics. Also, there was a problem now. For 4 consecutive 16 years, it had always been a Caucasian president. The Asians had not been able to touch it. This meant that the power of the human race had fallen. Some Asians, especially those with ancient Huaxia blood, were anxious. This time, the 4-year period was about to end, and it was time to run for president again. Many Huaxia people were actively operating. However, to run for president, One first needed to have an extremely high cultivation and strong vitality to be able to set an example for the human race. Therefore, basically only those who were in the meditative memory realm and have vitality close to 3 digits or had broken through 3 digits could be qualified. One had to know that the cultivation of the presidential candidate had to be publicized during the election. The person with a high cultivation would naturally be able to get more votes. Humans all admire the strong. This matter is indeed promising. Hong Haiyu's eyes flashed. If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. Do you know how many presidential candidates there are this time? I don't know among the Caucasians, but among the Asians, I think there should be some in the Wang family and the Jiang family. Jiang Li was shocked when he saw Hong Haiyu mention this. That's right. This time, there are 2 people with the highest support for the presidential election. One is called Wang Mierong, and the other is Jiang Haiyang. Hong Haiyu opened the information. These 2 are the top experts of the Wang family and the Jiang family. They are both in the meditative memory realm. Their cultivation is high and immeasurable, and their vitality has broken through 3 digits. Wang Mierong's vitality is 105, and Jiang Haiyang's is 108. Jiang Haiyang's vitality is slightly higher, but if they were to fight, it would be hard to say. There are other Asians running, right? Jiang Li wasn't clear about the political activities of the elite zone election. However, in a few months, the preparatory publicity for the election would be carried out. These people's information would appear one by one and be promoted on all the planets of the human race. Of course, it wouldn't be the power of the government, but the publicity of their own teams. At this time, it would be easy to see whose team was stronger and whose publicity was stronger. Some powerful teams with strong funds would go everywhere to get votes. Many planets knew that some candidates didn't have enough funds and the teams behind them weren't good enough. Some planets only knew that this person was on the list of candidates, but didn't know who it was. This way, they naturally wouldn't be able to get votes. At the same time, in a year's time, these candidates would go to all the planets to give speeches and gather their supporters. This time, if there are no accidents, it will probably be as Asians, or the Wang family, or even the Jiang family. Because both Wang Mierong and Jiang Haiyang have vitality over 100, and the other candidates aren't strong enough. Hong Haiyu shook his head. If it's the Wang family who wins the presidential election, then you will be able to rise to the occasion. If it's the Jiang family who wins the presidential election, I'm afraid you'll die a horrible death. We must stop them. Jiang Li knew the power of this. Although the power of the president was restricted, he had the power to control the general situation. He gathered many interest groups and had the power to decide on many things. At this position, no matter how much power was restricted, he was still the president. To deal with a kid like Jiang Li, or even the Red Emperor group, it would be like turning into ashes with a flick of finger. Chapter 231. Stop it. Hong Haiyu shook his head. This is the general trend of humanity. Anyone that tries to stop it is like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Unless you reach the vision domain realm, you can use force to break the trend and shake the general situation. This time, you push down Jiang Nalin's holy statue in the black market and have already offended him. Adding in his support, Jiang Haiyang's presidential election has at least a 70% chance of winning, which is very terrifying. Don't tell me there are no experts among the white people. I remember that there are a few white people that can reach the vision domain realm. Jiang Li would rather have a white person become the president than Jiang Haiyang. He had high hopes for the unification of humanity. Between the races, there shouldn't be any barriers. He had no enmity with a white person becoming the president. But it was completely different with the Jiang family. He could even be cannon fodder. Among the white people, there is only one person that has a vitality of over 100, and that person is called Heradal. But he has been defeated by Jiang Haiyang on the battlefield before, which will have a large influence on the election. Thinking about it, if he uses this as propaganda, he won't be able to get many votes. As for vision domain realm experts not being the president, this is the law of the government, and they can't even be members. This is also the content of the Saints' Agreement. Of course, they can support their family to be the president and have a large amount of weight. This time I already know that Jiang Nailin has killed an old ancestor of the same level in the mysterious battlefield in the cultivation world. This matter has spread through the high level and will have a large influence on Jiang Haiyang's presidential election. When Hong Heiyu spoke, his tone was very serious. I have a question, Jiang Li slowly said. Vision domain realm experts are almost unkillable. Old ancestors of the same level can't do anything to them, so humans can live in harmony. How could Jiang Nailin have the ability to kill an old ancestor of the same level? Hong Heiyu was also puzzled. This is also a secret. When the news came out, countless high-level members were shocked, especially our vision domain realm experts. They were all shocked. Jiang Nailin can kill vision domain realm experts. That means she can kill them. If I was a vision domain expert and heard this news, I would also be shocked. Jiang Li nodded. As for how Jiang Nailin killed him, I don't know. This should be an earth-shattering secret. It's said that with current scientific methods, it's impossible to kill a vision domain expert. Hong Heiyu said, but there are too many secrets in the universe. How many can we humans know? The current science and technology is just a drop in the ocean. That's true. Even an emperor has fallen, not to mention a vision domain expert. Jiang Li thought about the emperor relic and completely understood. He thought he couldn't resist the vision domain realm, but as his cultivation increased, anything could happen. So I can only support the Wang family now. Help the Wang family gather votes? Jiang Li thought about it and could only do this. However, with his strength, it wasn't enough to have any influence in the presidential election. Even if the Scarlet Emperor group was 100 times stronger, it wouldn't have much of an influence. We have to do this too. For example, the 36 Hua cities, they are not a small force. If we can gather their votes, it wouldn't be bad. Hong Heiyu said, the key is to increase your own strength. This base can provide spiritual energy and cultivation energy for you. But now all the energy is used for the Mother Empress and my research, so we can't help you at all. You have to struggle for everything yourself. No problem. Now that my strength has increased and adding in the control of the Emperor Relic, I can enter many dangerous areas. Finding spirit stones in mines is a very normal matter. Jiang Li revealed a smile. It's hard to find spirit stones on the Emperor Star now. Even the big ones, like this one, are only a few thousand kilograms. That's because some of the larger mines were occupied by the Aboriginals, and some were excavated by us human experts over the past few decades. I remember that 20 years ago, there was a large mining operation where millions of kilograms of spirit stones were excavated from one of the mines. Unfortunately, they were all transported to the elite area. You were able to find this mine because of luck. It's basically impossible to have this luck again, but it's not impossible to find a large spirit stone mine. Hong Heiyu began to discuss this problem. What method? Jiang Li's mind spun quickly. On the entire Emperor Star, the largest spirit stone mine that has been discovered is called the Great Gone Dragon Vein. You should know about it, right? Hong Heiyu smiled. The natives of the Emperor Star, the Great Gone Dynasty's Dragon Vein? When Jiang Li heard this, he immediately understood. There were many experts among the native cultivators, and there was even a peerless character like Chun Tianshu. There must be many mineral veins in the entire empire. It was no wonder that we coveted them. Spirit stones were a cultivator's life. Without spirit stones, people's cultivation would definitely stagnate. That's right. You want to cultivate the body of a great emperor and even form the embryo of a great emperor. I can't afford the amount of spirit stones you need. Time is of the essence. If you want to cultivate successfully, you need countless spirit stones. Only the dragon vein of the Great Gone Dynasty can help you advance quickly. Rumor has it that in the depths of the dragon vein, there are immortal stones of a higher grade than spirit stones. Hong Heiyu said, if you get it, your body of a great emperor will instantly reach the perfection stage. It's not impossible for you to form a holy embryo. Immortal stones. Jiang Li's eyes flashed. Then I'll go now. There's no rush. Hong Heiyu waved his hand. Cultivate the great emperor's seal first. I guess Starry Sky University will will select outstanding students to form a team to spy on the secrets of the Great Gone dynasty. You won first place this time, so you'll definitely be one of them. When the time comes, there will be strength in numbers. You can hide in the depths and sneak in. Of course, you have to be careful. This time, Gui Junzi and the Jiang family won't let you go. They might even arrange for you to wear shoes in the team. It's all up to you. I understand. After some discussion, Zhang Li stayed in the base to hone the Great Emperor's seal. His vitality was now at 8. It wasn't difficult or easy to continue to grow. He just needed a lot of spirit stones and spirit stones. He didn't have any extra spirit stones for now, but he didn't care. He just wanted to study the mysteries of the Great Emperor's seal. Although he had received all the inheritance of the Great Emperor's seal, it would take a long time to cultivate all of them. He was currently cultivating the Great Emperor's seal. The Great Emperor's seal was very mysterious. The first thing to cultivate was, where is the heart? The Great Emperor revealed in the primal chaos, asking all sentient beings in the world, where is the heart? The Great Emperor shook his head. Another king answered, the heart is outside the body. The Great Emperor still didn't speak. Another king said, the heart is the eyes. Another king said, the heart is the primordial spirit, the thoughts. All perception is the heart. The Great Emperor retorted, if you die and no longer have any perception, does that mean that your heart doesn't exist? Is your heart your body? The king couldn't reply. Then, the Great Emperor opened the path. The heart is not in the body. The heart is not outside the body. The heart is not in the brain. The heart is not your thoughts, not your perception, not your primordial spirit. The heart doesn't open and close according to the light and darkness. The heart is not in the center. All perception and thoughts are the product of fate and fate, not your true heart. This was the content of the Great Emperor's seal. After comprehending it, Jiang Li's body was shaking. This overturned his understanding of the heart. In the past, he always thought that the thoughts were the heart, the primordial spirit was the heart, perception was the heart, will was the heart, and the spirit in the depths of the brain was the heart. A firm willpower was a firm heart. Now, the Great Emperor was telling him that these weren't your heart. These perceptions, thoughts, primordial spirit, and will would all return to the void along with your body. Willpower and spirit were the product of fate and fate in the material world. They were the heart of confusion and not the true heart. Jiang Li carefully comprehended this principle, getting deeper and deeper. In the end, he entered a profound realm where all the cells in his body squirmed and his genes changed. There was a truth that could seize the good fortune of heaven and earth. He obtained first place this time, so he received a reward of 10 million star essence and a 5 energies unification pill. 10 million star essence wasn't much to him, but a 5 energies unification pill was extremely rare. Gradually, he comprehended the profoundness, and soon, he had some achievements. He opened his eyes and discovered that his heart was very agile. He seemed to be able to see through many things. The cells he controlled became more active. He knew that the Great Emperor's seal could strengthen the spirit and get rid of confusion. It was an ability to obtain the strongest realm. His hands formed all sorts of seals, and suddenly he sucked and swallowed the 5 chi unification pill into his stomach. He felt all sorts of medicinal effects surging. The medicinal effects turned into tiny particles and circulated within his body. It really is a spirit medicine. Jiang Li was very sensitive. At this moment, he saw the medicinal particles flowing in his body and settling in the depths of his blood. However, settling was useless. He had to use the power of these medicines to strengthen his body. Hence, he used his powerful spirit to penetrate his entire body. His body immediately roared like a tidal wave. The particles were all destroyed and turned into energy. They attached to the depths of the gene chains and started to strengthen the gene chains and strengthen his physique. Chongding was the beginning of non-human beings. It meant that after reaching Chongding, one's mental power would be very strong. They could observe the changes in their genes and use energy to change some subtle parts of their genes. Jiang Li was in this realm. He used the 5-Qi unification pill to strengthen the gene chains and used the Great Emperor's Body method to improve the physique. In a short while, all the medicinal effects were completely dissolved. The 5-Qi appeared above Jiang Li's head and slowly returned to his body. His vitality increased by 0.1 to 8.1. How slow? Back then, Mr. Wang Changrong increased by several points. It seems that the capacity of my Great Emperor's body is too high. Jiang Li stood up helplessly. He knew that the body of others was like a small stream. With a heavy rain, the water level would rise by 1 meter. But his Great Emperor's body was like the ocean. No matter how much rain it rained, the sea level would not rise. Chapter 232. After cultivating for a few days and comprehending the Great Emperor's heart seal, Jiang Li decided to go home. Now that his space had expanded, he could collect countless materials and store them inside. Every blade of grass and tree on Emperor Star was a treasure. The fish and beasts at the bottom of the sea were all very valuable. In the past, he had only transported some high-grade things back because he didn't have enough space. Now, his space was 50 square kilometers and 3,000 meters high. As long as he filled it up, he could make a lot of money. Those low-grade resources like wood, beast meat, fish, herbs, and eveners could make a lot of money. Their sales were even better than those high-grade things. After all, not many people could afford the high-grade things. Large numbers of robots went out to cut down trees, catch, and collect. In these few days, they had piled up a mountain of materials and moved them into Jiang Li's space, filling it to the brim. In particular, wood was very popular. The wood on Emperor Star was very dense and durable. It also had a fragrance and spirit qi, so it was very expensive to make furniture and houses. Compared to the red sandalwood from a few hundred years ago, rosewood was much more expensive. Some plants could be made into spices, which was the best choice for the middle class. Sun and moon essence was very expensive. Spirit stones were even more expensive. These ordinary things were good for the human body and could be bought by the masses. If companies wanted to make a lot of money, they had to take the commoner route. At the same time, Hong Hiyu had also planted a new type of rice called spirit rice on many islands. This was actually a new research topic. It was using high-tech methods to change the genes of rice. It was a kind of genetic modification technology, and then activating a type of cell in the seed to absorb spirit qi and become something like spirit stones. However, this technology hadn't been conquered by humans yet. Once it was conquered, it would be a major event for humans. One had to know that there were only 2 ways for humans to absorb spirit qi. The first was to rely on spirit stones, and the second was to rely on embryonic breathing. Of course, some peerless experts could absorb spirit qi and turn it into spirit liquid for their disciples, but this was just a drop in the bucket. If they could research spirit rice, not only would it be a great merit, but it would also change the structure of the entire human race. Of course, it was impossible to grow spirit rice on a planet without spirit energy. However, humans had discovered that many planets contained spirit energy. If they could grow spirit rice on a large scale, it would be a leap in human quality. It could be said that once spirit rice appeared and was planted on a large scale, the vitality of ordinary people could reach 2, 3, 5, or even double digits. Of course, this thing was feasible in theory, but in reality, there were huge scientific difficulties that could not be done. For example, plants can absorb sunlight, which is called photosynthesis, but humans can't. This was the theory, but the spiritual qi of heaven and earth was in the second dimension. It was simply too difficult for plants to break through the shackles of the second dimension and absorb spiritual qi. Fortunately, after Hong Heiyu obtained the Empress Egg, he communicated with Little Darch and gradually solved many scientific problems. The Little Emperor was an expert in the vision domain realm and was placed in the Mother Empress. Although he didn't revive and didn't have a true soul, he was very knowledgeable and experienced. He had fused with the Mother Empress spirit and obtained a lot of knowledge on how to transform flesh and blood. The Mother Empress egg contained supreme technology that was even more advanced than humans. Adding in the fact that Little Darch had learned human science and was proficient in all 3, he was equivalent to one of humanity's greatest scientists. This kind of person and Hong Heiyu would be able to study each other. Adding in the Mother Empress' divine power, he believed that not long from now, he would be able to study spirit rice. If he applied for a patent through the Scarlet Emperor Group, wouldn't that cause a huge commotion in wealth? The Mother Empress technology would first be reflected in this. Zhongli, go back and bring this information to your father. It might be useful for your father's study of the sun and moon essence. I also hope that your father can study spirit rice. When Zhongli was filling up the space, Hong Heiyu took out a crystal chip and gave it to Zhongli. This is my research information. It can't be spread on the internet in case the information gets out. Bring it to your father yourself. All right. Zhongli accepted the chip. He knew that Hong Heiyu was also interested in the sun and moon essence. However, now that the sun and moon essence have been studied, the most he could do was to apply for a patent. It was very difficult to conduct large-scale research and collection because it was impossible to build a base near the moon and the sun. Of course, if he could get this patent out, it would greatly discuss the sun and moon group. With some information about the Mother Empress, I believe that father can successfully break through. Zhongli thought and suddenly said, Teacher, can you give me some nanomachines? I will go back and bring them to father. With the help of nanomachines, his research will definitely be very fast. All right, nanomachines are an important technology of Starsky University. They are very expensive, but I am still researching biological nanomachines, which are the crystal cells of the Mother Empress. In fact, nanomachines are based on the worker bees of the Zerg race. Now that the Mother Empress is the ancestor of the entire Zerg race, I have almost studied the mystery of biological nanomachines. You can take all of these mechanical nanomachines back. Hong Heiyu took out a large furnace. The furnace was filled with nanomachines. Damn, with the appearance of the Mother Empress, there are so many technologies. Once the research of spirit rice is successful, it will be a major event that will shock mankind. Although biological nanomachines are slightly inferior, after the research is successful, this technology will be enough to make teacher rich. In comparison, the research on the sun and moon essence is not so outstanding. Zhongli accepted the nanomachines and immediately returned to the Starsky University base. He bought a ticket and once again set off for Earth. As for Luohan, Serene, and the others, they stayed in the base to study. After Little Empress left the Great Emperor relic, there was nothing special about the relic. Zhongli could no longer dream of the cultivation world. Although it could still breathe and store items, it could no longer recharge or absorb the energy from the wormhole to expand its space. The reason why the Great Emperor relic absorbed the energy from the wormhole was because the remnant Emperor's aura was protecting the current owner of the Great Emperor relic. Now that the Great Emperor's aura had completely fused with Little Empress and was injected into the depths of the Mother Empress egg, the Great Emperor relic would no longer protect its owner. However, the advantage of this was that Zhongli did not have to worry about being taken over by the Great Emperor. He could even refine the Great Emperor relic and fuse it into his own body. In the end, he would become an expert, even stronger than the Great Emperor. In the future, the Great Emperor's fetus would have to rely on the Great Emperor relic to achieve various changes. Without the Great Emperor relic, the Great Emperor's fetus would not be complete. This time, everything was safe and sound. There were no problems with the battleship, so Zhongli returned to Earth. As soon as he left Earth, he contacted Chu Shan and Chu Cece. Then he went to the Black Market Sun Moon City and dismantled all the resources. The Black Market Sun Moon City was now the Crimson Emperor Corporation. The feng shui of the city had also changed a lot. Now, many employees were managed by Chu Shan, Chu Cece, and Wang Chongrong. They recruited many experts and bought horses. Moreover, Zhongli brought a lot of robots from Starsky University. The whole corporation was busy. Zhongli, congratulations. You actually won first place in the ranking competition and defeated Meng Xingyun. Your whole family has obtained the qualification to immigrate to the elite area. The higher-ups of the 36 Hua cities already know about this. They should invite you to a banquet tonight. Wang Changrong patted Jiang Li's shoulder and said, "This time, you're even more valued by the people of the 36 Hua cities. My goodness, your body is really strong. I'm afraid I won't be your opponent in the future." "Sir, your vitality has reached 10? Jiang Li's eyes were sharp. With one look, he could see that Wang Changrong's strength had improved very quickly. There was an elegant aura all over his body. He might even have comprehended the embryonic breathing realm. The embryonic breathing realm was truly non-human. They were non-human in the material world. As for Wang Changrong comprehending the embryonic breathing realm, Jiang Li was not surprised at all. This person was born to be a cultivation genius. He had experienced the vicissitudes of life. His experience was far above Jiang Li's. "Jiang Li, I didn't expect you to bring so many resources this time. Large amounts of wood, spices, herbs, and animal fur. These are the real treasures that sell well." Chu Cece walked in with a piece of wood in her hand. The color of this wood was dark green. The wood was hard and smooth. It emitted a charming fragrance. This was a special wood from the Emperor's Star, the green jade Kirin wood. It was harder than real jade, but it was not brittle. It was much tougher than steel. It contained a type of energy that was beneficial to the human body. It was very valuable. Many rich people used it to build houses and make furniture. Now, Jiang Li's area was almost an entire forest. How much could it be sold for? The goods had piled up in many warehouses in the Sun Moon City like a mountain. They were still being transported out. "I'll have to trouble you to sell the goods this time to accumulate funds." Jiang Li smiled. "My Red Emperor Group also has shares in the security group. We are not separated. These resources are actually nothing. I'll go see my father." After unloading the goods, Jiang Li returned to the capital and gave Hong Heiyu's chip to Jiang Zhendong. Jiang Zhendong treated it as if he had obtained a treasure. He did not even talk to his son for a while and wanted to chase Jiang Li out. However, when Jiang Li took out the nanomachines, his expression immediately changed. He laughed loudly. "It's actually such high-grade nanomachines. With this, my research on the essence of the sun and the moon will advance by leaps and bounds. Son, just wait and see. In a few days, there will definitely be results. Dad, don't tire yourself out." Jiang Li saw that his father's body was fine, but he still had to care about him. "It's fine. I'm in a good state now. My vitality is rising steadily. I take some spirit stones every day, and my spirit is getting better. Mr. Changrong also taught me a set of health techniques. I train every day. I'm getting younger and younger. I'm a scientist who studies human genetics. What don't I understand?" Jiang Zhendong waved his hand. "The essence of the sun and the moon includes medicine, human anatomy, biology, genetics, molecules, and many other sciences. I will definitely understand my own body." "That's good." Jiang Li could see that his father's vitality had already reached 1.5. If this continued, it would not be a problem for him to live for more than 100 years. "Also, your brother is coming back soon. In about 10 days, can you stay at home for a while longer?" Jiang Zhendong said casually. "What?" Jiang Li was shocked. "Brother, is he finally coming back?" Chapter 233. Now Jiang Li already knew that his brother was in the army and had gone to the mysterious battlefield on the alien planet. He was even about to miss the Star University exam. Jiang Xian had said that Jiang Tao was a powerful person. Maybe his brother had made great achievements in the battlefield on the alien planet in the past 2 years. On the battlefield in the cultivation world on the alien planet, many adventures were waiting for him. Although it was dangerous, as long as he didn't die, he could rise rapidly. "I don't know what realm my brother has cultivated to. The same as me? According to Jiang Xian, my brother should be very strong, very strong. However, I'm not weak now. Although the body of the great emperor has a big drawback, my mental strength is not weak." Jiang Li's mental strength was originally 2-dimensional units. However, after his promotion, his mental strength had greatly increased. He occasionally tried to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth on the Emperor's Star. He could actually absorb 3 grams of spiritual energy a day. It was also obvious that his mental strength had reached 3-dimensional units. He was very pleased. With this kind of cultivation, he could hypnotize most experts in the first tier of the embryonic breathing realm. Then I will stay here for 10 days and wait for my brother to come back. We haven't seen each other for nearly 2 years. This time we will have a good reunion. Jiang was very happy. Go, I still have experiments to do. I will work all night today. Jiang Zhendong said, by the way, Representative Zhu already knows that you are coming back. Today he invited you to a banquet to discuss something important. If he wants to invite me, help me reject it. I want to research wholeheartedly. No problem. Jiangli was almost driven out of the laboratory by Jiang Zhendong. He saw his father take out the nanomachines and start them. Suddenly, a cloud of smoke filled the entire laboratory and mixed with the essence of the sun and moon in the depths of the pool. The laboratory was now well built. Jiangli had brought a lot of research equipment through Hong Heiyu. In addition, last time when Wang Rulai negotiated with the big shots of the 36 Huaqing, those big shots all supported Jiang Zhendong's research. The Red Emperor Group's laboratory on the island was getting bigger and bigger with more researchers. The Wang family had also sent some people to manage the Red Emperor Group in the black market. They were all experienced experts. In this way, Jiangli could sit back and relax. He just needed to provide a steady stream of resources. Of course, he was definitely not a hands-off boss. The core of the entire group's continuous operation was him. Without him to provide the goods, the group could just close down. Mom, how's sister studies recently? In a huge villa next to the island, his mother was holding a certificate and smiling happily. She tossed and turned, and the wrinkles on her face were gone. Mom, what are you looking at? Why are you so happy? Jiangli sat down and looked at his mother's complexion. She looked very good. She had been taking care of her health all day, and there was a special beauty expert who came to massage her every day. Apart from that, his mother also absorbed a bit of spirit stones every day, which nourished her body. Her complexion was glowing, and she looked 10 years younger. Spirit stones were the best health supplements. According to the ancient Taoist scriptures, one could become an immortal by harvesting the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Of course, his father's research on the sun and moon essence had produced great results. The two elders also consumed the sun and moon essence every day to nourish their bodies, so it was normal for their vitality to rise steadily. Son, this is the immigration handbook sent by the government. You won first place in the Starry Sky University's ranking competition, so we can all immigrate. But first, we need to read some immigration handbooks and understand some information about the elite area. The elite area was really good. The environment was good, and energy could be used everywhere. It was said that you didn't need to take a car to go anywhere. You could just teleport there with a whoosh. But it's hard to leave my homeland. I still like Earth. His mother flipped the handbook over and over. That doesn't matter. Mom can live on Earth if she wants to, and go to the elite area if she wants to. But for now, we are preparing. You guys don't go for now. The elite area is deep. Although the environment is good, and the living conditions are good, our business is in the 36 Hua cities. Wait until Dad studies the sun and moon essence. Zhongli said, Son, I heard that everything in the elite area is expensive, especially the houses. Can you afford it if you go there? If we want to immigrate, we should at least have a home there. That shouldn't be a problem. Zhongli felt that he was quite rich now. Could it be that he couldn't even afford a house? But the houses in the elite area were indeed expensive, much more expensive than a battleship. He didn't lower his price, because the houses in the elite area were not ordinary goods. All of them used the same energy, and there was a huge optical computer. It was simply a scene from science fiction. Look, this house doesn't need any servants to clean it. His mother flipped through the information. With a press of a button, many people with energy bodies will appear. After cleaning, the energy bodies will disappear. Moreover, every morning the master chef, design master, fashion master, beauty master, massage master, they will all appear to make breakfast for you, design clothes for you to go out, give you a massage, and do beauty treatments. These are all energy bodies, but it's so expensive. Just like an ordinary house, the daily energy consumption is millions of star dollars. If it's a big manor or a big villa, the energy consumption is more than tens of millions. There are also many energy uses, energy acupuncture, energy gene pools. It really is a paradise on Earth. Zhongli also flipped through the information. He found that the energy use of the elite area had surpassed that of Starry Sky University. With a press of a button, all kinds of energy bodies could be selected from the optical computer, and the masters could do anything for you. As long as you have enough energy, you can even keep an energy body for a few days and use it as a bodyguard to accompany you. But such an energy body consumes too much energy. The weakness of energy bodies was that they were not easy to preserve, just like an ice sculpture encountering the scorching sun. If a martial arts master wanted to preserve an energy body for a day, the amount of energy needed was immeasurable. It was important to know that the longer the time, the energy consumption would be calculated according to the power of many. It was not the consumption of one energy block in an hour, 2 energy blocks in the second hour, or 4, 8, or even 10 energy blocks in the second hour. Everything depended on the amount of movement of the energy body. The optical computer would calculate in advance the program and time to create and set the energy body. The elite area, some energy bodies. This was equivalent to an angel in heaven. The vast normal area was still in the mechanical era, while the elite area was already in the energy era. Of course, such a life could not be popularized. Even the rich and powerful could not afford to live here. Only human experts could live here. Now, although Zhongli had obtained the qualifications, if he wanted to live a good life, he was afraid that he did not have enough financial resources. When he advanced to the embryonic breathing realm and obtained remarkable powers, he would be able to use them to earn money. "Brother, I'm back." At this moment, his sister Jiang Xian came in from outside. She was driving an expensive car. It was flashy and handsome. She sped over, drifted to the door, and directly rushed in. Her movements were like a swallow, so light that she seemed to be able to control the airflow. "Huh?" Zhang Li's eyes flashed. "Your vitality has reached 2. How did it happen so quickly?" "Of course it's fast when I have money. I consume spiritual stones every day. Other students do not have this kind of treatment." Jiang Xian looked at her brother up and down. "Brother, you are too awesome. You can even get the first place in Starry Sky University? All of our schools are in an uproar. Give me your autograph. I want to sell it for money." "What first place in Starry Sky University? It's just the first place among the freshmen. There are many powerful figures among the older students that I am not their match at all." Jiang Li had nothing to be proud of. Defeating Meng Xingyun was also not worth celebrating. However, he just remembered that this was a big deal in the whole 36 Hua cities, and even on Earth. Think about it. There were so many geniuses among the students, and how many human planets gathered together. What kind of concept would it be to get the first place in the same batch? If it was in ancient times, it would be the top scholar in both literature and martial arts. It would be the star of martial and star of literature descending to Earth at the same time. This news was amazing to the students of the 36 Hua cities. Jiang Xian, as Jiang Li's sister, naturally received a lot of attention in the school. "Jiang Li, you're back? In a month, it will be our exam. I also want to apply for Starry Sky University." Another car flew from outside and stopped at the door. A slim and graceful girl, 9 meters tall with slender legs, stood on the car. It was Chen Dyer. "Are you here to invite me to a banquet?" Jiang Li snapped his fingers and immediately guessed Chen Dyer's intention. "You're really smart." Chen Dyer took out an invitation. "Today is not a big banquet. It's a secret meeting of the 36 Hua cities' top counselors. They want to invite you to attend. It's about the presidential election in a year and a half." "I knew it was about this matter. Let's go now." Jiang Li stood up. This matter couldn't be delayed any further. "Brother, you're leaving?" Jiang Xian was not happy. "Stay at home and practice your cultivation." Jiang Li suddenly sent out a thought. "Practice your fist technique well. Don't forget about all kinds of cultural knowledge. After I discuss with them, I will give my sister a hellish training." Yes, Jiang Xian had no other choice. She could feel her brother's strong spiritual pressure. Woo woo woo. Jiang Li sat in Dyer's car and flew into the sky, leaving behind a trail of dust. In fact, he could run faster than a car in the sky, but there was no need to be so ostentatious. Once again, he arrived at Zhu Yuanshang's manor. This time, Zhu Yuanshang actually personally came out to greet him, giving him enough face. As soon as they met, he laughed heartily. "Brother, you really are an amazing character. Your future is limitless. You obtained first place in the ranking tournament and defeated the genius Meng Xingyun. Our 36 Hua cities will have another big shot. In the future, we'll have a place in the top management of the human race. Our lives will be much better." "You flatter me. I'm very shallow." Jiang Li was humble. However, he knew that his achievements were already very fierce. He was not even 20 years old, yet he had obtained first place in Starry Sky University. That was definitely the focus of attention. These counselors also knew his value. When he achieved the embryonic breathing realm one day, he would be another divine arts practitioner in the top management of the human race. "Brother Jiang Li, you're really a genius among geniuses. I saw your battle video. You defeated Meng Xingyun. Your strength is strong and fierce. You could be considered a model example of using strength to prove one's path." Chapter 234. Capital's high-level counselors were all here, a total of 36 of them. They were like the counselors of the entire human parliament. They could do whatever they wanted in the 36 Hua cities and even make their own laws and taxes. Of course, this required the approval of the human government. Generally, as long as it didn't violate the basic human constitution, it could be passed. Now that humans had expanded for so long, they had established bases on many planets. Every planet had different laws depending on the environment. For example, some planets prohibited alcohol, some banned pornography, but some allowed gambling. Some planets prohibited the sale of luxury goods, while others were full of luxury goods. Some even prohibited cars because of the lack of energy. These were all laws that varied according to the environment. Just like the United States of America 200 years ago, every state had its own laws. For example, the current black market was actually a place where the big bosses of the 36 Hua cities vented their grievances according to the feng shui layout and reported to the human government. Counselors, since so many of you are gathered here today, it seems that there is something important to discuss. I'm just a student, so I'm afraid I can't participate. Jiang Li smiled when he saw the situation in front of him. He was less than 20 years old. Compared to the big bosses in front of him, he was still inexperienced and didn't dare to make any decisions. "Brother, don't say that." Zhu Yuanshang patted his shoulder affectionately. "In this world, seniority doesn't matter. Only the strong are respected. For example, the Jiang family's Saint Jiang Nailan is only a fourth-generation junior. He has many uncles and even grandfathers and great-grandfathers. But now, don't the great-grandfathers in the family still worship his holy statue and treat him as a god? In my opinion, given time, Brother Jiang Li might not necessarily not have this kind of potential." No. Jiang Li waved his hand, not wanting to discuss this topic. His priority now was to obtain endless energy and cultivate the body of the great to small success. Then he would think about the embryonic breathing. As for the cultivation after that, he would take it one step at a time. Okay, let's not beat around the bush. Chun Gang didn't want to talk too much. You probably know that the presidential election will start in a year and a half. According to the rules, we start preparing in half a year and use the next year to get votes everywhere. Now, the two most promising candidates are both Chinese. You must have heard about this. Yes, one is Wang Mierong from the Wang family, and the other is Jiang Haiyang from the Jiang family. Both are meditative overlords with 3-digit vitality. Jiang Li's eyes flashed. He already knew that these counselors would talk about this. But didn't you reach an agreement with the Wang family last time to fully support them? We did reach an agreement last time, but recently, the Jiang family sent us a letter. Take a look. Zhu Yuanshang took out a letter. It wasn't an email, but a paper. In the electronic era, this kind of letter was basically extinct. But now, the whole human race had a rule. Writing a paper letter represented respect. Jiang Li opened the letter. It was filled with domineering words. The general meaning was that the Jiang family hoped to get the support of the 36 Hua cities in the presidential election. The grudges from last time would be written off. If they succeeded in the presidential election, the Jiang family's Saint Nailan would even personally help Zhu Yuanshang and the other counselors to advance to the embryonic breathing realm. Other than that, they also promised all kinds of benefits. They even invested hundreds of millions to build cities and boost the economy. Jiang Li's heart turned cold. It seemed that the Jiang family was determined to win the presidential election this time. Not to mention the counselors. Even he was tempted by such benefits. Even if it's an expert in the vision divine realm, it's impossible to help people advance to the embryonic breathing realm, he said quietly after reading the letter. That's not for sure. Shen Gang was tempted at first glance. He was prepared to cooperate with the Jiang family. Jiang Nailan can't be judged by common sense. He recently killed an expert in the vision divine realm on the battlefield of the human race's extraterrestrial planet. This shocked many of the saints. He obtained some unknown things, and the Jiang family's power has increased greatly recently. Since it's the Jiang family's promise, they should be able to fulfill it. Yes, this letter was written by the current head of the Jiang family, Jiang Wuya. If they can't fulfill their promise, and we expose this letter, the president will be criticized and attacked. We have to fulfill the promise made during the election, Jiang Wuya said. Another counselor said, you see, the higher-ups also promised that once the election is successful, they will send us a large amount of spiritual stones to improve the quality of the Chinese people in the 36 Hua cities. What do you plan to do? Jiang Li sighed and slowly sat back in his chair. He didn't say anything. Do you want to cooperate with the Jiang family? If we cooperate with the Jiang family, we wouldn't have invited you here today. Zhu Yuanshang spoke after a long time. But we can't refuse this benefit. You're a smart person, so you should know the advantage the 36 Hua cities have in terms of votes. The entire 36 Hua cities have a population of 5 billion. The 36 Hua cities were the territory of China 200 years ago. They were even larger, including some small countries in Southeast Asia. Now they were all cities where Chinese gathered. After the development of technology and the transformation of cities, each city had a population of 100 million or 200 million. It could be said to be prosperous. If they were all turned into votes, it would have a decisive effect. To be honest, I can't refuse the Jiang family's promise. Unfortunately, I have an irreconcilable hatred with the Jiang family that can't be resolved. I can only walk this path to the end. Jiang Li's eyes lit up. I understand why you're looking for me. You want me to communicate with the Wang family and give you the same treatment? That's not for me to say. Zhu Yuanshang smiled, and many counselors nodded. They knew that Jiang Li was a smart person and could see through their intentions with a glance. If the Wang family didn't give them the same treatment, they could only pull votes for the Jiang family. I'll bring it up. Although Jiang Li hated these people for being greedy, it was human nature. At the most crucial time, they had to sell it for a good price. After discussing for a while, Jiang Li stood up and left. Seeing that Jiang Li had left, a few counselors came over. Brother Zhu, do you think the Wang family will agree to our request and give us the same treatment as the Jiang family? It's hard to say. Zhu Yuanshang closed his eyes. Actually, this is just picking a side. There will definitely be risks. We will either offend the Wang family or the Jiang family. We will definitely have to get enough benefits. However, I think that according to the Wang family's usual thinking, it is very likely that they won't give us the same treatment. Then we'll rely on the Jiang family? Chen Gang asked tentatively. Not rely. It's a deal. Zhu Yuanshang pointed out the main point. We have to maintain our independence, get resources, and wait for the right price. If the Wang family doesn't give, the Jiang family will. Why not? Among them, the thing that moved me the most was that Jiang Nailan personally helped me advance to the embryonic breathing realm. Think about it. How many years have I been stuck in the realm of Chongding? If nothing unexpected happens, I will stop here for the rest of my life. How can I be satisfied if I don't fight for this kind of opportunity? Everyone was silent. This group of people doesn't understand the big picture. They take whatever benefits they see. A group of short-sighted people. Bada. Wang Chongrong threw the letter on the table. His eyes were sharp as he stared at Jiang Li. The Jiang family has promised so many benefits. I am sure that it is an empty promise. Only the Wang family's elder ancestor can fulfill their request. However, even the Wang family's clan leader can't find the elder ancestor. What should we do? Hence, the Wang family will not agree to this. But the 36 Hua city's votes are not a small number. Zhongli also knew that the Wang family would definitely not agree to it, but there was no other way now. There is still a year and a half before the matter will be revealed. There is no hurry. Maybe in this year and a half, there will be changes. Wang Changrong waved his hand. This matter cannot be impulsive. We need to think about it at length. Beep, beep, beep. While the two were talking, the sound of beeping echoed in the hall. Jiang Zhendong's ecstatic expression appeared on the optical computer screen. It's a success. I finally developed the sun and moon essence and Tai Chi Dao water that have no side effects on the human body. Ha ha ha. This is the real sun and moon essence. Its effect is not inferior to the spirit chi of heaven and earth. It even has the effect of balancing yin and yang. If it is produced on a large scale, the quality of the entire human race will be changed. Son, Mr. Korong, come to the lab quickly. What? You finally developed it? Zhongli was shocked. He stood up abruptly. The success of the sun and moon essence was not a small matter. It was a big event that would shake the human race. He and Wang Changrong immediately rushed into the depths of the lab. They saw Jiang Zhendong spacing out beside a pool. That pool was about 3 to 4 meters wide and 1 meter deep. It was filled with Tai Chi liquid that was bubbling. It was different from the last time. When Zhongli looked at it, he saw that the Tai Chi liquid seemed to be wriggling worms. It was alive and had the smell of biological cells. He knew that Jiang Zhendong was inspired by the Empress Mother technology and finally developed the sun and moon essence. The Empress Mother technology was epic-making. Why don't you try it? This is the real sun and moon essence. I've written all kinds of data into a report. I'm going to send it to the highest scientific organization of the human race. After the human government's test, I can get the patent. Jiang Zhendong took some out for Wang Changrong and Zhongli to try. Zhongli drank a mouthful and felt his entire body relax. His mind wasn't damaged at all. On the contrary, all the cells in his body seemed to be fused with a wave of energy, fusing with his flesh and blood. His body crackled, and every pore on his body emitted a clear air. His entire body felt refreshed. As expected, there are no side effects. Moreover, the medicinal effect is strong. It can compete with the spirit chi of heaven and earth and has its own effects. Wang Changrong also took a sip and was shocked. You've really succeeded in your research. Report it to the Academy of Science immediately. Without further ado, we'll start using the media to report it and create all kinds of hype to build up the momentum. I'll help you inform the Wang family about this. We'll use the Wang family's connections to start settling down so that the Jiang family won't interfere. Chapter 235. News. The scientists of the 36 Huacheng Red Emperor Corporation have developed the true essence of the sun and moon. It has no side effects on humans and is similar to the legendary spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Jiang Zhendong has developed the true essence of the sun and moon and published the data of various clinical trials. They've already sent it to the Human Academy of Sciences for inspection. It's very likely that the essence of the sun and moon will be mass-produced. Human technology has made another great leap. Red Emperor Corporation announced that if the essence of the sun and moon is mass-produced, the quality of the entire human race will greatly improve. From now on, it's normal for ordinary people to have vitality above 1. The average quality of the entire human race now is 0.7. In 10 years, everyone will reach 1. Big news. The research on the essence of the sun and moon can finally be completed. It has no side effects on the human nervous system and can be consumed without the need for deep sleep. Clinical investigations have shown that there are no side effects at all. The next day, all kinds of media started reporting about it. Some of them were from the Wang family, but most of them felt that this was a big news. This was the era of freedom of the press. Even if a news organization scolded the president or the government, it would be fine. The president could interfere at will, or else it would be a dictatorship. It was the best of times and the worst of times. Jiang Li sat at home and browsed through the news on the internet. This was the headline of all the major websites and forums. Jiang Zhendong even put some photos of the laboratory on it to make it more believable. At the same time, countless emails were sent to the Red Emperor Corporation. They were from the media to interview Jiang Zhendong and the Red Emperor Corporation. "Son, should we hold a press conference?" Jiang Zhendong walked over and sat down. "Dad, how's the situation at the Human Academy of Sciences? Did they stop us from applying for the patent?" Jiang Li stood up. He was most concerned about this. "I think the application will be approved, but what if the Jiang family tries to stop us?" "Humph. The Jiang family. They've been researching for decades and haven't obtained the technology to convert biology and energy. It's impossible for them to develop the true essence of the sun and moon. In fact, if I didn't get the information you gave me today, I wouldn't have the sudden inspiration to solve this scientific problem." Jiang Zhendong snorted coldly. The Human Academy of Sciences takes this matter very seriously. Coupled with the media's overwhelming publicity, no one can cover up this matter. I reckon that this matter has already spread to the human elite area. Even members of Congress have begun to ask about this matter. After all, the development of the true sun and moon essence is a great thing for the improvement of the quality of the entire human race. Jiang Li thought about it and agreed. Conquering this scientific problem was a major event for the entire human race. Now that the news had spread, no one could suppress it. "Jiang Li, Zhendong, I have announced that I will hold a press conference at Beijing City Hall. A total of thousands of media outlets are gathered there, waiting for you to make the announcement." Wang Changrong walked over, his face full of joy. Originally, the Jiang family's promise to the 36 Hua cities made him a little uncomfortable, but now that he had developed the essence of the sun and moon, it could be said that he was giving the Jiang family a counterattack. City Hall. Click, click. Countless lights shone on the room as Jiang Li and his son, Jiang Zhendong, held a press conference and faced many questions from the media. "Mr. Jiang Zhendong, may I ask how you conquered this scientific problem?" "I am a reporter from Panga News," a heavyweight news agency spokesperson said to Jiang Zhendong. "Our Red Emperor Corporation has some unknown technology. Recently, I have achieved some results in my research on bioengineering and energy conversion, so the study of the essence of the sun and moon was naturally successful," Jiang Zhendong replied with a smile. "Mr. Jiang, I am a reporter from eStar Media. May I ask, I heard that you used to be an employee of the Sun and Moon Corporation, and now that you have come out to study the essence of the sun and moon, did you steal the research results of the Sun and Moon Corporation? Will you be sued by the Sun and Moon Corporation in court?" Jiang Zhendong was not angry. He only said calmly, "I have already stated this a long time ago. In the past, the patent of the essence of the sun and moon also belonged to me. Originally, I was halfway through the research, and according to the contract, the Sun and Moon Corporation should have given me shares and patent rights, but they violated the contract, so I can only come out to study it myself. This is a major event that concerns the entire human race. The Sun and Moon Corporation is selfish, so I'm waiting for them to sue me, and everyone will debate in court to see who is right and who is wrong. Hello, I am a reporter from Ark News. May I ask what you will do after you get the patent rights? Will it be produced by the Red Emperor Corporation, or will it be produced by others? As far as I know, the moon base and the bases near the sun are now occupied by the Sun and Moon Corporation, so you can't mass produce it," a reporter pointed out the key point. "This is very simple. I will not use the patent for the time being." Jiang Zhendong suddenly raised his voice a lot. "I've said that I am doing this for the entire human race, not for the Jiang family's selfish interests like the Sun and Moon Corporation. Everyone knows that the presidential election is in a year and a half. I promise that after I get this patent, as long as Jiang Haiyang of the Jiang family doesn't become the president, I will donate this patent of the essence of the sun and moon to the human government, so that everyone can have the essence of the sun and moon. Because I know that if the Jiang family obtains the patent of the essence of the sun and moon, they will definitely make money for themselves and make their family proud." Whoosh! Jiang Zhendong's words caused 1,000 waves. Free donation. These 4 words immediately caused a large-scale uproar. Yes, Jiangli was very happy. This time, his father was basically holding a spear and stabbing it into the heart of the Jiang family. Using this sensational news to attack the Jiang family, it was equivalent to giving the people a promise. The hidden meaning was obvious. As long as the Jiang family didn't become the president, the essence of the sun and moon could be given to the people to use. This news could be said to be a sensation on many planets. When everyone heard this news, how many people would not vote for the Jiang family? Everyone knew that the essence of the sun and moon produced by the Jiang family would definitely be very expensive. And if Jiang Zhendong donated the patent to the government for free, then the government would start large-scale research, and then the people would have a greater right to enjoy this benefit. In any case, this way, the votes of the Jiang family would drop sharply, and it would be a devastating blow to Jiang Haiyang's election. I believe that after seeing this news conference, the higher-ups of the Jiang family will vomit blood. The people from the 36 watching will also turn their guns, because they know that they can't force the voters to vote. Jiangli was very happy. It seemed that his father was also very politically minded. But in the future, he would have to be on guard against the Jiang family's dirty tricks. After a series of answers, Jiang Zhendong attacked the Jiang family in all kinds of ways, promising how he would benefit the human society. This news would be released on many planets in an instant, and the Jiang family couldn't suppress it. This was an overt plot, using the general trend of the essence of the sun and moon to destroy the Jiang family's election. At the same time, Jiangli also answered some questions, not leaving anything out. At the same time, he also revealed that the Red Emperor Corporation was recently researching biotechnology, and there would be important news to be released when the time came. The Queen Mother had a lot of technology, and Hong Heiyu and Little Arch could research much faster than Jiang Zhendong. It was very likely that they would develop all kinds of advanced technology so that they could maintain enough exposure for the Red Emperor Corporation. Anyway, after today's news conference, Jiang Zhendong would definitely be famous all over the world, and it would be impossible for the Jiang family to do anything to him. In today's society, no one could hide the truth with one hand. Even Jiang Nailan had to worry about the impact. The vigorous press conference lasted for an entire day before it finally came to an end. Following that, thousands of major media outlets began to publicize the news. Some human government websites also reported on it. At the same time, countless people paid close attention to the test report from the Academy of Sciences. Under such pressure and public opinion, everything was open and transparent. No one could fake it. Moreover, the Academy of Science started the test immediately. Many media outlets rushed to the Academy of Science, and some even slept outside, ready to interview the test results. This way, the Academy of Science couldn't delay the test, and they could only start the test on the same day. Jiang Li and Jiang Zhendong returned home and watched the situation at the Academy of Science on the optical computer. These tests had to be announced to the public, and everyone could see it clearly. On the third day, the test results and various clinical trials were out. Countless media outlets were waiting for the results immediately. A few great scientists also held a news conference. Everyone, after the Academy of Sciences tests, all the data shows that the sun and moon essence developed by Mr. Jiang Zhendong meets the standards of a normal human body. At the same time, it can be mass-produced. According to the optical computer's analysis, if it is mass-produced, the quality of humans will increase by leaps and bounds within 3 years. Another great scientist came out and said, "Friends from the media, our Academy of Sciences tests are transparent and fair. All the data is available on our official website, and you can check it. I hope that Mr. Jiang Zhendong can donate the patent of the true sun and moon essence to the human government. Don't let a certain family or company monopolize it. Only then can we benefit all of humanity. When the government starts mining it, all of us will become martial arts masters." A few great scientists also hope to obtain this technology. Boom! When the results of the Academy of Sciences test came out, the media was in an uproar once again. That was because once the true sun and moon essence hit the market, everyone would be able to consume it, and humanity would undergo another revolution. All of a sudden, Jiang Zhendong became one of humanity's most famous scientists. Once the results of the Academy of Sciences test came out, many reports were sent to the higher-ups of humanity. Soon, the patent was applied for, and in the end, the patent of the sun and moon essence still belonged to Jiang Zhendong. Next, Jiang Zhendong could even send a lawyer's letter to the Sun and Moon Corporation to stop the production of the sun and moon essence. If not, it would be an infringement of rights, and they would have to pay huge compensation. Of course, Jiangli would definitely do it. Send a lawyer's letter to the Sun and Moon Corporation to stop the production and compensate us 300 billion star dollars. Once the patent was obtained, he immediately gathered the Red Emperor Corporation and the Long family's legal team to sue the Sun and Moon Corporation in court. This was a series of attacks. Chapter 236. Bro, I can't take it anymore. In the training room, Jiang Xian carried a large saber that weighed a ton on her back. She continuously swung it, ran and killed. Many energy zombies, armies, and even martial arts masters started to surround and attack her. She wanted to use this large saber to fight. In order to train his sister, Jiangli had opened up a martial arts master system within the Crimson Emperor Corporation. As long as she charged into energy, she would be able to train Jiang Xian every day. With his current wealth, this was something that he could do. Can't take it anymore. Jiang Li's eyes flashed, and a wave of mental energy pierced into Jiang Xian's body. She once again swung the large saber in extreme pain, continuously slashing and killing. Jiang Li did not imitate Hong Heiyu's punches and kicks. Instead, he used his supreme mental energy to pierce into Jiang Xian's mind, controlling her actions, but not the degree of pain. This way, even if she was lazy, she would have to train at all times. This was the most ruthless coercion, making it so that she would not even have a chance to breathe. After training like this for a few days, all of her potential was squeezed out, and Jiang Xian's vitality miraculously increased by 0.1. At this juncture, even an increase of 0.1 was very powerful. Gradually, Jiang Xian also developed a persevering personality. She did not need Jiangli to train with her, and she madly cultivated every day. It seemed that she had some talent. If it really did not work, Jiangli would just train her for a while. After all, if she did not comprehend it herself, it was impossible for her to become a powerhouse. As such, he would let his sister be an ordinary person and live a peaceful life. Seeing that his sister had gradually developed a persevering personality, he heaved a sigh of relief. On a planet similar to Earth, it was spring all year round, and the environment was like a fairyland. There were very few people on the planet, and it seemed that this was a planet that had just been discovered. There were some companies on the planet that were developing wastelands and constructing. On a planet that had just been discovered, some companies would be the first to station there and build their own bases. However, they would have to pay a fee to the human government, and they would also have to pay a heavy tax to mine ores and resources on the planet. Unless the company had their own fleet, they could secretly mine the planet without reporting to the human government. However, this kind of behavior was illegal. This planet was called Treasure Gathering Planet. Due to special geological reasons, there were many gems on the planet. It was rumored that there were also spirit stone veins on the planet. However, it was still in the exploration stage, and no company could mine the spirit stones. A huge base was built here. The layout of this base was actually somewhat similar to the Sun-Moon City in the black market. Many robots were walking and moving things around. The sun and the moon, two artificial glowing objects, floated above them. This was the headquarters of the Sun-Moon group of the Jiang family. Preposterous! A palm fiercely slammed onto the table. Immediately, the entire table burst into flames and turned into ashes. This was a divine ability, not a martial art. It showed that the owner of the palm was extremely powerful. This was because the table was not made of wood, but metal. The metal turned into steam and then into dust. This palm technique was rarely seen even among the upper echelons of the human race. It was a divine power that came from pure flesh and blood. The owner of the palm was a middle-aged man with a dignified aura. Below him, many elders stood up, and one of them was Jiang Haitian. Jiang Haitian, tell me what happened. You let a junior cause such a big mess and ruin our family's election. I will cripple you. The middle-aged man reprimanded the old man Jiang Haitian as if he was reprimanding his son. Uncle, this matter was caused by me. I am willing to accept punishment. However, even Saint Nalan's divine power couldn't do anything to the Wang family. What else can I do? Jiang Haitian looked much younger than this middle-aged man, but he actually called him uncle. It could be seen that this middle-aged man was the true upper echelon of the Jiang family, the Wu generation, which was one level higher than the Hai generation. This person was Jiang Wudao, the true supreme elder of the Jiang family. Not killing this bastard back then was your biggest mistake. Now things have gotten out of hand. Jiang Wudao's gaze was fierce. If not for this bastard, how could so many things have happened? Saint Nalan's spirit was actually injured last time. It was inevitable that he fought with Wang Chao. However, from this incident, it could be seen that Wang Chao couldn't do anything to Saint Nalan. The number one person of the human race will soon be replaced. That old man still can't beat our Jiang family's genius. That day, Saint Nalan's spirit broke through space and fought with the Emperor's power. In the end, the holy statue collapsed. Until now, countless people, including members of the Jiang family, believe that it was Wang Chao who made a move. In reality, Wang Chao didn't even appear. Then what should we do now? An old man turned on his optical computer. The news of the sun and moon essence being successfully developed and ready for the market was overwhelming. This wasn't a good thing for the Jiang family. The key was that the real patent was in the hands of Jiang Zhendong. Now, the Sun and Moon Group's production of the Sun and Moon Essence had to be stopped. Otherwise, it would be an infringement of rights. Once the production stopped, it would cause a huge loss. Jiang Zhendong is easy to deal with, but his son isn't. There are two sons. Needless to say, Jiang Li's every move in Starry Sky University. However, Jiang Tao is doing very well. He had a fortuitous encounter and was rewarded by the army. Our genius Jiang Xian is also dead. Another old man called Jiang Haihua sighed. Could it be that this is an unlucky year? Shut up, Jiang Wudao scolded. What unlucky year? Our Saint Nalan killed a saint on a foreign planet. Once he refined it, he would gain unparalleled power. At that time, we can directly challenge Wang Chao and kill him. The Wang family will immediately collapse. Now that Saint Nalan has obtained the Cultivation Saint's Cave, a large amount of resources will be transported over. Even if we don't do business for 100 years, our Jiang family's wealth won't be depleted. Now listen to me. Find a chance to kill Jiang Li and Jiang Tao. Yes. Also, build momentum for our election. We must suppress Jiang Zhendong's momentum. We cannot fail in this presidential election. Yes. Let's move. After a period of secret research, some of the Jiang family's higher-ups began a plot. On Earth, Jiang Li's family was happy and harmonious, waiting for his brother Jiang Tao to return home. 10 days passed quickly. A battleship appeared from Earth's wormhole base. It was a military battleship. It was blue in color and huge in size. With a rumbling sound, it set off monstrous waves and tsunamis on the sea. Jiang Li had long been waiting on the sea. He knew that his brother Jiang Tao would return. Sure enough, a tall figure jumped out of the battleship. With a pair of sharp eyes, he saw Jiang Li at first glance. Jiang Li also saw this person. It was his brother Jiang Tao. Brother. Jiang Tao laughed heartily. His laughter was filled with incomparable joy. Whoosh! He suddenly dashed across the sky. His speed surpassed the speed of sound, tearing through the atmosphere and arriving in front of Jiang Li in the blink of an eye. So fast, Jiang Li was shocked. He found that his brother's speed was too fast. It was almost twice the speed of sound. This meant that his vitality was above 15. Back then, Jiang Xian's vitality was only 12 or 13. But now, his brother's speed was much faster than Jiang Xian. Naturally, his vitality was stronger. The two brothers hugged each other and patted each other's back. Brother, I didn't expect you to be able to create such a situation. During the 2 years I was away, you were the one who took care of my parents. I feel guilty. After separating, Jiang Tao sighed. If not for you taking care of my parents, I'm afraid they would have been killed by the Sun and Moon Group. After I came back this time, I heard a lot of things. I won't let the Sun and Moon Group off. Brother, your vitality is increasing so fast. What did you encounter on the cultivation battlefield? Jiangli observed and found that there was some energy hidden in Jiang Tao's body. It seemed that he could still burst out a very strong combat power. In terms of cultivation, Jiang Tao was already at the constant state. He had yet to comprehend the embryonic breathing realm. However, his brother was a genius. When he had achieved nothing, his brother had already reached the third stage of deep sleep. It was possible for him to comprehend the embryonic breathing realm. Therefore, it was not strange for his brother to reach the constant state. Brother, your spiritual power is so terrifying. Jiang Tao was also observing his brother's strength. Suddenly, his face showed intense shock. Brother, your spiritual power has far surpassed the embryonic breathing realm. It even has an irresistible majesty. When I move a little, I am suppressed to the point that I can't breathe. And your body, what kind of body is this? Although your vitality is only 8 points, the structure of your body is simply terrifying. Let's talk about it when we get back. Jiangli smiled. His spiritual power was indeed very strong. In this aspect, no one at the same level could catch up with him. His brother's spiritual power was very strong, but it had not reached the level of one-dimensional unit. Right now, he was at the level of three-dimensional units. Comparing the two, Jiang Tao's shock was inevitable. The two brothers returned home. Wow, this house is so big. Is it all ours? Jiang Tao looked at the island. On it, there were towers, villas, laboratories, large tankers, mini robots, sea bridges, energy furnaces. All these constructions. He almost jumped up. Brother, it has only been 2 years since we last met, and you have actually created such a big industry. Second brother, you are finally home. After not coming back for 2 years, I thought you had met with an accident outside. Jiang Xian immediately ran out. Baba. Jiang Zhendong and his wife walked out. What are you talking about? Your second brother has just come back, and you're already cursing him. This damn girl wants to be beaten. I don't care. Jiang Xian stretched out her hand. Second brother, I want a gift. Big brother has given me a lot of gifts in these 2 years. This is your first time coming back. If you don't bring anything back, it will be too sad. No problem. I knew you would want a gift. Jiang Tao flipped his hand, and a sparkling small sword appeared in his palm. This small sword was covered in layers of patterns. With a casual wave, a cloud of smoke was produced, and a powerful spiritual power was emitted from it. Flying sword. Jiangli was shocked. This flying sword has such a strong spiritual power. Moreover, it is extremely pure and awe-inspiring. It is not a demonic flying sword. This flying sword was definitely a righteous flying sword. Moreover, its quality was extremely good. It had a pure righteous aura and was much better than the 7 slaughter demon sword. Wow, Jiang Xian was about to go up and take it. However, the flying sword suddenly flew up and actually dispersed. It turned into a metallic energy current and condensed into a word in the air. This word was written in a strange font. It was the language of the cultivation world. However, Jiangli could see that it was the word Zheng. Then this Zheng word flew into Jiang Xian's body. Chapter 237. This is the most brilliant righteous flying sword, a scripture sword. It is the most difficult to refine. It is a scripture that is refined into a flying sword. Each sword is cultivated into a word, and thousands of flying swords are organized into different words. This kind of sword is vast and unparalleled. As soon as Jiangli saw it, he recalled the most brilliant flying sword in the cultivation world, the scripture sword. Brother, you know this too? Jiang Tao was stunned. This is the highest profound in that mysterious world. It is a scripture called the righteous way of heaven. It has a total of 1,296 words. If a cultivator wants to refine a flying sword, they must refine 1,296 flying swords. Each flying sword is formed from the profound essence of different words. Finally, when the flying sword is refined, it will form a scripture. Once it is used, it will shock even the gods. It can kill and suppress everything. I learned this in Starry Sky University. Zhongli made a small lie. In fact, Starry Sky University did not have such a secret. It was information he obtained from his dream back in the cultivation world. This sword was much more powerful than the Seven Slaughter Demon Sword. It was also difficult to refine. It also contained an overwhelming righteousness, and the profound meaning of the scripture nourished the heart. It was very helpful for people to comprehend. This was a righteous path. There was no negative energy. After Jiang Xian obtained it, she could refine the sword qi into her body. It was a type of energy that could fuse with her body. Because this sword had been refined by its original owner to the point where there were no impurities. It was a pure energy body. Sister, this is a flying sword. Next, I will tell you how to circulate your qi and blood, melt the flying sword into your body, and finally turn it into your body's energy. Then, this flying sword will completely become a part of your body's energy. You can send it out and withdraw it as you wish. Jiang Tao explained, with this thing, Starry Sky University will not be able to detect it. When the time comes, you can definitely pass the exam. This flying sword is indeed powerful. It is perfect when it fuses into my body. Zhongli nodded his head. This sword was not made of metal, but of qi. It was a vast and righteous qi, the great dipper heaven and earth. To practice this scripture sword, it was not made of metal. It was made of extremely tyrannical experts, at least in a meditative state. They could absorb energy and use their sharp spirit to condense the scripture into a divine sword. It nourished the righteousness of Yang and specialized in destroying evil. If the Seven Slaughter Dark Demon sword met this sword, it would be a complete defeat. Brother, how long are you planning to stay at home? I don't think you'll be staying long, Zhongli asked. That's right. I can only stay at home for a few days. After that, I have to go back to the army to do something. I still have to go back to fight. The war between humans and the cultivation world is getting more and more intense. No one has the time to spare. Jiang Tao greedily looked at everything in the house. I really want to stay at home for a while longer and accompany my parents. What a pity. Go. A real man's ambition is to travel far. Jiang Zhendong waved his hand. There's plenty of time in the future. Mom and Dad don't need anything. Life is long now, and we can afford to spend a few decades. If this was the era of the country 200 years ago, Mom and Dad could only live to 70 or 80 years old, and we wouldn't want you to go out. But now, even at this pace, Mom and Dad can live to 100 years old. Are you afraid that you won't see us? Yeah, as long as you're safe, his mother said, although she obviously didn't want her son to leave. That's great, Jiang Tao said. What's really good? Jiang Xian asked, second brother, what are you talking about? I'm saying, it's really good for our family to be together. Jiang Tao murmured, I really want to be together forever. Our family can live happily like this. That's happiness. Unfortunately, people will grow old, get sick, and die. Only God can preserve time and keep our family. It doesn't matter. With the development of science, our life will become longer and longer. Eventually, humanity will enter the realm of immortality. Zhongli was very confident. At that time, our family could be together forever. And I will work hard for this goal. Jiang Tao clenched his fist. One day, Zhongli also said, beep, beep, beep. At this time, Zhongli's photon computer chip rang again, and a message appeared. Student Zhongli, quickly return to Starry Sky University. You have an important mission. Now that he was a senior student at Starry Sky University, he must complete various missions. Brother, you stay at home with Mom and Dad, and teach your sister. I have a mission. Zhongli originally wanted to stay with his brother for a few more days, but unfortunately, the mission at Starry Sky University couldn't be delayed. Go, be careful. Jiang Zhendong said, be careful. There might be people in Starry Sky University who want to harm you. Don't worry about this. No one could do anything to me. Jiang family's Jiang Tianhe tried to kill me, but I killed him instead. Whoever wants to deal with me must pay the price. Zhongli reassured his parents. Brother, take good care of Mom and Dad. Zhongli ordered again. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, no one can touch a hair on Mom and Dad. Jiang Tao vowed. Zhongli talked for a while more before reluctantly leaving. He took the warship through the wormhole and jumped to the Emperor's star. With Jiang Tao's return, the family had one more pillar of support. He could fight outside, accumulate, and improve his strength without worry. As soon as he arrived at school, he went to the old campus to report. He was no longer a freshman, but a senior student, and the original freshman dormitory had to be vacated for this year's examinees. The huge freshman exam would be held in a few months. Who knows what kind of people would appear this year? Perhaps after his sister started cultivating, she could register in advance. For the Starry Sky University's exam, those who were over the age limit could not register, but those who were not over the age limit could. For example, Tang Yin was just a little girl, but she still registered for the exam as long as she was not afraid of death and had a strong vitality. The earlier he got into Starry Sky University, the earlier he could study and improve his strength. This was a must. You have left the Novice Academy. Your dormitory is now assigned to Building 31, Room 7089 in the old campus. Waves of emails were sent over. However, Jiang Li and his mentor, Hong Hiyu, had set up a base, so they did not need to stay in a room. Moreover, this place was prone to attack. If the alien natives came, this place would be the first place they would attack. Let's go to the mission building and see what kind of mission is given to me this time. Jiang Li went straight to the mission building. Not long after, he arrived at the interior of the building. Inside, there were students who came to accept missions or to hand in missions. All of them were senior students. The first year of freshmen was training, so they did not need to do any missions. Of course, they could choose to do it themselves, but it was mandatory for senior students to contribute to Starry Sky University. Student Jiang Li, your mission is to spy on the Qian Empire and steal the highest secrets of the natives. At the same time, find an opportunity to destroy the Qian Empire's dragon vein and geomancy array, causing their country's fortune to decline. Your teammates are 4 people. The captain is called Long Tianlang. The other 3 teammates are called Luo Zhengnan, Duan Chao, and Xiao Kuang. This time's mission is very important. Starry Sky University has sent out dozens of teams. I hope that everyone in your team will work together. Complete the mission excellently. Your 4 teammates have already reported. You are the only one left. Reporting. Jiang Li clicked on it. He did not know the names of these 4 teammates, but he could tell that they were senior students. You have reported. Please wait here patiently. The email has been sent to your 4 teammates. Once everyone is gathered, you can begin. I was meticulous. Jiang Li waited here patiently. He was not anxious at all. After advancing to the eternal stability realm, his heart and soul were very calm at all times, and he was not affected by external things. After about 4 to 5 hours, the sky outside darkened. When night fell, the number of senior students who came and went became fewer. Suddenly, a huge battleship stopped outside. 4 people alighted from the battleship. They walked like dragons and tigers, and each of them had the aura and demeanor of an exceptional expert. The 4 of them went straight to the front of Jiang Li. One of them was wearing a cloak and was 2 meters tall. He looked down at Jiang Li and said, "You are Jiang Li, the first place of the freshman ranking competition?" "Yes." "You are my 4 teammates?" Jiang Li was startled and stood up slowly. He looked at the man in the cloak, and his heart jumped. The other party was actually an embryonic breathing realm expert. In between breaths, he felt the surging spiritual energy of heaven and earth being extracted from the second dimension and injected into his body. This was not a teacher, but a student. There was also an embryonic breathing realm expert among the students. It was unbelievable. Oh, that's right. The top few teams, Immortality, Samsara, Heavenly God. The members of these teams are even stronger than the instructors. It's not like there aren't any students who are stronger than the instructors. That's right, we are teammates who participated in the mission together. The tall, cloaked senior student had an obvious sneer on his face. "I am Long Tianlang. I am your team leader. This is Luo Zhengnan, Duan Chao, and Xiao Kuang. You are Jiangli, right? The senior student called. Xiao Kuang stood up. His eyes were shining as he stared at Jiangli. I am also in the embryonic breathing realm. Luo Zhengnan and Duan Chao are not in the embryonic breathing realm, but their vitality is 15 and 16 respectively. You are too weak, and I am afraid you will be a burden to us. What do you mean? Jiangli could hear that Xiao Kuang's tone was a little unfriendly. Nothing much. You have been causing quite a ruckus recently. A golden light flashed in Long Tianlang's hand, and a golden scimitar appeared in his hand. This golden scimitar was very small, and there was a wolf's head on it. He habitually played with this golden scimitar and slowly said, "Your father actually created the sun and moon essence, applied for a patent, and spread it all over the world. You even held a press conference yourself. Among the students of our Starry Sky University, you are the most famous. You are just a small student, and you're not even in the embryonic breathing realm, and you actually dare to manipulate the election. You're really bold." Hearing this, Jiangli suddenly understood. He immediately knew that he had been arranged for this mission. Forget about meeting with people. They had purposely sent a few strong teammates. He didn't know who had arranged it, but it was very likely that they would kill him during the mission. These people could be the Jiang clan's allies. I don't understand what everyone is talking about. The mission was assigned to us together, so we have to complete the mission well. This way, everyone will be proud, and we will receive many benefits and reward from school. Jiang Li's tone was very calm, and he was not angry. Brat, you have a sharp tongue. Long Tianlang took a deep breath. Actually, you don't have much use in the mission and can only be used as cannon fodder. However, since the school assigned us together, and I am the team leader, you have to listen to me. If not, I will teach you a lesson. Chapter 238. Long Tianlang, the leader of the Tianlang small team. He is extremely strong. Embryonic breathing realm. He has completed many missions and has long obtained the qualifications to enter the elite zone. Xiao Kuang, the leader of the hero small team. Embryonic breathing realm. He was once the champion of the 34th student ranking tournament. The Tianlang small team is ranked 34th, while the hero small team is ranked 37th. When Jiang Li saw his 4 teammates, who were obviously not good people, he knew that he had been plotted against. This was to be expected. He had caused such a big commotion on Earth. It would be strange if the Jiang clan did not have their eyes on him. However, the Jiang clan was so powerful that they could actually persuade 2 leaders of a small team that was ranked 50th to deal with him. These 4 people, Long Tianlang, Xiao Kuang, Luo Zhengnan, and Duan Chao, were not from the same small team. They were all famous experts from different small teams. They were the leaders of the small teams. They had formed an alliance and asked Jiang Li to join their temporary small team. He had provoked them the moment he arrived. He definitely had ulterior motives. Everyone knew what Sima Zhao was up to. Did you listen to the Jiang clan's orders and come to make things difficult for me? Jiang Li had checked the information in secret and already knew about Long Tianlang and the others. The Jiang clan, Long Tianlang was slightly surprised. They can't order me around. However, they gave us many benefits and asked us to take care of you during the mission. He emphasized the word take care. Originally, he shouldn't have said these words like this, but he said it openly, appearing unbridled and fearless. In his eyes, Jiang Li wasn't a big deal. He could deal with him casually without any trouble. It was just that his mentor, Hong Heiyu, was a little troublesome. At the embryonic breathing realm, although some of the school rules of the Starry Sky University could not be ignored, as long as they did not cause too much trouble, they could be completely ignored. How do you take care of me? Jiang Li wanted to clarify. You will know when the time comes. Let's go. Get on our battleship. We're going to the territory of the Qian Empire, the other side of the planet. Luo Zhengnan was a little impatient. You have said so openly that you want to deal with me. If I get on your battleship, wouldn't I be walking right into a trap? Jiang Li found it funny. It doesn't matter. Long Tianlang shrugged his shoulders and said, "It's better if you don't follow us. That means you've left the organization. We will report your situation to the school and say that you didn't complete this mission and deliberately disobeyed orders. This is your first mission after becoming a senior. You have to think about it carefully. If you don't complete it, you might be expelled. I'm the leader of this temporary team, and I'm in charge of recording the situation of my teammates in this team. Especially for a newbie like you, completing a mission for the first time requires a senior to be in charge of recording it. If you perform well, the higher-ups will study and give you a reward. If you can't complete the task, in addition to expulsion, there's also confinement, prison, and a series of other things waiting for you. Starry Sky University is completely militarized, and I don't believe that I, the captain, have the authority to arrest you and hand you over to the higher-ups. Brat, I'm asking you now, are you going or not? Xiao Kuang walked up and directly asked. Meanwhile, Duan Chao and Luo Zhengnan turned on their recording devices. If Jiang Li said no, the consequences would be severe. It would be equivalent to refusing to complete the mission. Okay, I'll go. Jiang Li said these 3 words. The 4 of them were stunned. They didn't expect that Jiang Li would really dare to go. Their original intention was to scare Jiang Li and cause him to panic. That way, they would be able to grab hold of many of his weaknesses. They didn't expect this person to be neither servile nor overbearing and agree immediately. It was as if he had the courage to charge into a dragon's lair and a tiger's den. Okay. Long Tianlang's eyes flashed and he laughed. I didn't expect you to be such a character. Even this can't scare you. Since it's like this, let's go. Get on my battleship. He took the lead and left the mission building. Jiang Li followed behind. The battleship landed and a door appeared. Everyone entered in a line. Jiang Li walked in without hesitation, as if he was taking a stroll in the park. So, after the 5 of them entered the battleship took off and flew out of the base in an instant. Jiang Li sat on the chair in the battleship and didn't move. He looked down and didn't show any signs of fear. Big Brother Long, this kid has some guts. We clearly wanted to trick him, but he actually followed us. Whose power is he relying on? Does he think that Hong Heiyu is protecting him? Does he think that we are bluffing and that we really don't dare touch him? Luo Zhengnan observed Jiang Li's changes in the cockpit. He noticed that Jiang Li was sitting upright and still, which made him unhappy. There are people watching Hong Heiyu's every move. Long Tianlang said, this time, the Jiang clan is determined to kill Jiang Li. Even Hong Heiyu can't stop them. If I were the Jiang clan, I would kill this kid too. I have heard of the grudges between this kid and the Jiang clan. This time, he actually interfered with the Jiang clan's presidential election. He really has guts. Xiao Kuang shook his head. Should we make a move or what? If we kill this kid, the Jiang clan will promise us a good treasure. The Jiang clan promised me an incarnation pearl on an alien battleship. This thing is very exquisite. Once we get it, we can inject our spirit into it and train it day and night, turning it into an external body, an energy body. Moreover, this energy body can automatically absorb all kinds of energy to strengthen itself. It is equivalent to having a second self. This thing is a dream puppet, Long Tianlang said. However, we can't make a move directly. We could just let this kid be the cannon fodder. Moreover, we have to record the scene of the Emperor Star's natives killing him. This way, there will be evidence and it will have nothing to do with us. What if we kill this kid and the Jiang clan doesn't give us the promised benefits? Duan Chao was worried about this. You don't have to worry about this. Although the Jiang clan isn't good people, they won't go back on their promise at this critical moment. Of course, we also took the Jiang clan's deposit. Long Tianlang's face revealed a cold smile. Xiao Kuang, if I guess correctly, the deposit you received was 1 gram of celestial stones. If it wasn't for this thing, why would you do such a thing? That's right, I did obtain 1 gram of celestial stones. Xiao Kuang saw that he couldn't hide it anymore and couldn't help but admit it. He casually took out a very small stone. This stone was like a dream world with countless clouds flowing within it. However, there wasn't a single trace of spiritual energy on the outside. You still haven't refined it? Long Tianlang frowned. Rumor has it that this is an energy stone that is a level higher than spirit stones. It contains celestial energy that can seize the fortune of heaven and earth. As long as we obtain it, our physiques can be reborn. Don't you also have a gram? Xiao Kuang shook his head. Ever since the Jiang clan gave this to me, I tried every possible way to absorb it and fuse it into my body. However, it was to no avail. I couldn't absorb it at all. I even suspected that it was fake. It's impossible for it to be fake. After I obtained this gram of celestial stones, I thought about it day and night and used technological methods to research it. However, I still couldn't figure out what kind of energy structure it was. It was rumored that in the mysterious cultivation battlefield, this celestial stone is also a rare thing. Long Tianlang was a little uncomfortable. I asked you this time to see if you had any good ideas to absorb it. However, I didn't expect that you also didn't have any ideas. Do you think that the Jiang clan gave us this celestial stone because they knew that we wouldn't be able to absorb it? Xiao Kuang said. Or maybe there's something wrong with this celestial stone. That shouldn't be the case. Long Tianlang analyzed carefully. The celestial stone was originally formed by gathering an extremely strong energy from the universe. The Jiang clan told me that 1 gram of this thing contains a huge amount of energy. It's not something that spirit stones can compare to. However, we have to be careful when we absorb it. It's a subtle influence. If we touch it, we will definitely explode and die. If we say that spirit stones are oil, then celestial stones are nuclear reactors. All right, let's find another time to research this thing and see how to absorb it. The 4 of them were all in the cockpit. The energy was completely sealed. Moreover, everyone had a mental barrier that could prevent Jiang Li from spying on them and invading their minds. From her point of view, how could a small Chongding like Jiang Li be a match for an embryonic breathing realm expert? Jiang Li was isolated in the cabin at the back like a prisoner. However, he didn't move at all and continued to cultivate. The battleship was jumping at high speed in the sky. After a full 3 days and 3 nights, it descended in the night sky. It stopped in a canyon in a primeval forest to avoid being discovered by the experts. The cabin door opened. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The 4 older students were the first to come down. Then, they opened the cabin door at the back. Kid, you can come out now. Our current location is at the other end of the planet. We are already close to the territory of the Daqian Empire. If we want to go deeper, we can't use the battleship. We can't even use the mecha. We have to go in with our physical bodies so that we won't be discovered by the experts. I'll tell you about the specific mission. Jiang Li walked down slowly. He was still very calm. Long Tianlang's eyelids twitched. He seemed to be very unhappy with Jiang Li's reaction. However, he didn't flare up for the time being. Instead, he hooked his finger and said, "The specific mission this time is that the Daqian Empire has been on the move recently. They are colluding with foreign cultivators to attack the base of the Star Sky University. Recently, they are going to hold an alliance and sacrifice to the heavens. This sacrifice to the heavens is quite mysterious. It is to use all the strength in the body to sacrifice to the heavens. Once it is successful, the energy of the Emperor Star may undergo various changes and produce a repulsive force against the energy of the Star Sky University. Hence, we have to disrupt this sacrifice to the heavens. Destroy the dragon veins. Do you understand?" Understood. Jiang Li couldn't be bothered to say more. It's good that you understand. Now, the 4 of us will hide the battleship here and set up a small feng shui array formation. You will go to the Daqian Empire and find out about the sacrifice to the heavens, the procedures, the routine, and the information of the cultivators. Then, report to us. Remember, you must complete this mission. Long Tianlang analyzed. With your standard, you can only do some scouting work. After that, we will kill the cultivators. Do you understand? I'll go scout. Jiang Li smiled. They really treat me as cannon fodder. The entire empire is heavily guarded, and there are peerless experts among the natives. Once I go in, I won't be able to return. So you don't agree to it? You can't even complete such a small task. Remember, I am the team leader. I have the right to make you do what you need to do. Also, if you break the unity of the team and refuse to carry out the mission, I have the right to detain you. Long Tianlang kept obstructing him. Chapter 239. Long Tianlang, Xiao Kuang, Duan Chao, and Luo Zhengnan didn't even put Jiang Li in their eyes. They casually toyed with him like they were playing with a clown. However, according to normal logic, it was indeed so. Two embryonic breathing realm experts with vitality of 15 against a student with vitality of 8, Chongding. Any one of them could completely crush him. The difference was huge. It was like an eagle dealing with a sparrow. There was no need for any schemes or concealment. If the difference in strength was too big, it would be an insult to oneself to use schemes. Long Tianlang didn't need to scheme. He was too lazy to even explain to Jiang Li. He just wanted him to die. Under such strong pressure, he had to go even if he didn't want to die. From his point of view, it was a waste for the Jiang clan to give him celestial stones to deal with Jiang Li. He was just a kid. Even if he was a genius, how strong could he be? They could order him around as they wished and not dare to go west. Do you really think that you have me? Jiang Li stood with his hands behind his back. He wasn't moved by the 4 strong existences. You don't need any schemes to deal with me. You just want me to be cannon fodder? What schemes do I need to use to deal with you? Long Tianlang flicked his fingers. His face was filled with disdain. I am ordering you as a team leader. Let me ask you again. Are you going or not? Are you going or not? Xiao Kuang took a step forward. His eyes were filled with pressure. He was ready to make a move at any moment to capture Jiang Li. I'll go. Jiang Li spat out 2 words. Once again, Xiao Kuang and Long Tianlang felt that something was wrong. Long Tianlang's heart moved. His expression softened. That's good. As long as you go, I won't make things difficult for you. However, to prevent you from playing tricks, bring me your optical computer chip. I will install a software on it. It will be able to monitor your every move. This will prove that you are going. Of course, this is for your own good. Once you are in danger, we will be able to come and save you. There is no need for the software. Jiang Li knew that they were monitoring him. At that time, they would have all sorts of excuses to make things difficult for him. What? You are evading? Long Tianlang's killing intent rose. Are you playing with me? I can complete the mission, but my cultivation is too shallow. I need energy to replenish my body, Jiang Li said with fervor and assurance. I know that the Jiang family gave you the legendary immortal stone in order to deal with me? Then leave it to me. How about replenishing my body? What? What are you talking about? Long Tianlang and Xiao Kuang almost couldn't control themselves. How do you know about the immortal stones? You guys are talking so loudly in the cockpit, I can't even listen to you. Jiang Li waved his hand dismissively. Actually, his cultivation of the Grand Emperor's Heart Seal had reached a certain level, and his cultivation base was starting to stabilize. His psychic power could enter the seamless void, turning into illusory ripples that could interfere with the void and radiate out in a way that no one could sense. The profoundness of the Great Emperor's Heart Seal was not something that normal people could understand. Even those in the embryonic breathing realm would find it hard to detect such a peeping. This was because the Great Emperor's Heart Seal pointed out that the spirit was not a form of thought, mental energy, or perception. Instead, it was a kind of undying sincerity. Everyone else was cultivating a false heart, not a true heart. Bastard! So you have been fooling us all along. Long Tianlang stared at Jiang Li for a full minute, and suddenly roared, "Take him down, Luo Zhengnan, Duan Chao, take him down." Yes. Luo Zhengnan and Duan Chao roared and suddenly pounced. One had a vitality of 15 and the other had 16. Both of them were stronger than Wang Rulai and Jiang Xian. Of course, they were older. Once they pounced, the situation suddenly changed. Long Tianlang roared angrily and suddenly rushed into the air. What are you guys doing? It turned out that the 2 of them had pounced to attack not Jiang Li, but him, the team leader. Fortunately, Long Tianlang was in the embryonic breathing realm, so he immediately flew out and didn't get killed. Be careful, the 2 of them have been hypnotized. Xiao Kuang turned his body and a burst of psychic power suddenly burst out, wanting to pierce into Jiang Li's brain. At this moment, it was already too late to act. Psychic power attacks were the fastest. He used the psychic power of the embryonic breathing realm to control Jiang Li and make him surrender. In almost 0.1 microseconds, his mighty psychic power had pierced into Jiang Li's brain. However, almost at the same time, an even more vigorous psychic power gushed out from Jiang Li's brain and started to counterattack. That psychic power was silent, but it was like a great river. It was full of potential and had the power of a great emperor that could subdue everything. Any psychic power that came into contact with it would be defeated. Zzz, Xiao Kuang, the team leader of the hero team, was trembling all over. His eyes were bloodshot, as though he couldn't control himself and was completely controlled. Then, he turned his body and suddenly flew out, surrounding Long Tianlang in midair. Xiao Kuang was also hypnotized by Jiang Li. Swoosh. A celestial stone shot out from Xiao Kuang's hand and landed in Jiang Li's hand. Once this celestial stone was caught, Jiang Li felt the body of a great emperor secrete a kind of fanatical information. This was like a thirsty person seeing a sour plum. Long Tianlang sank down and closed in on Jiang Li. However, Xiao Kuang followed him like a shadow, blocking him firmly and attacking him at the same time. Tyrannical Ninth Heaven Fist. Once Xiao Kuang attacked, he consecutively threw out 9 punches. Each punch was heavier than the previous one. This was a remarkable power and not a martial arts teaching. Many energies formed a force field, suppressing Long Tianlang in the depths of the force field. Open for me. Long Tianlang was furious. He almost couldn't believe the scene in front of him. Xiao Kuang, who was also in the embryonic breathing realm, was actually hypnotized like this. What kind of situation was this? Jiang Li wasn't in the embryonic breathing realm, but he could hypnotize the embryonic breathing realm. This was a miracle in the history of cultivation, and it completely overturned the truth. Heavenly Wolf's 7-kill fist. Behind him, a sacred fetus appeared. This sacred fetus had a wolf's head and 7 tails. Each tail curled up a weapon and tore through the air. Bang, 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 bang. Huge energy exploded and collided with each other. Xiao Kuang's force field was destroyed, and he flew out, spitting out mouthfuls of blood. Long Tianlang didn't have it easy either. He fell straight to the ground, his whole body bathed in blood. Large amounts of blood spurted out from his pores. He had used too much strength, and it was caused by the energy shock. Xiao Kuang's life force was slightly weaker than his, but he was hypnotized. His strength was extremely great, and he fought with no regard for his own safety. However, he had scruples in his heart, so he couldn't kill Xiao Kuang, which resulted in the current situation. Xiao Kuang, get up and surround him again. Luo Zhengnan, Duan Xiao, you guys attack from behind. Jiang Li said slowly. At this moment, Xiao Kuang, who was spitting out mouthfuls of blood, didn't care about his body. He immediately became vigorous, continuously consuming his life force, and surrounded Long Tianlang. The other 2 attacked from behind, completely unafraid of death. Little bastard, how can you have such strong mental strength? Long Tianlang said angrily. His eyeballs kept turning, as though he was thinking of a way to resolve the situation in front of him. Is that so? My mental strength can also hypnotize you. Take out the celestial stones on you. Take them out. Jiang Li's tones suddenly became very dignified, very faintly discernible, as though it came from the 9 heavens, and was the guidance and teachings of a deity from the heavens. Long Tianlang's eyes were filled with confusion. He kept circulating his mental strength to resist, but it was useless. Because his body was injured just now, his blood couldn't supply his brain cells, so he was at a disadvantage when circulating his mental strength. He couldn't use his full strength. However, he became more and more angry, and at the same time, more and more shocked. Who exactly are you? How can you suppress my mental strength after hypnotizing Xiao Kuang? According to logic, hypnotizing Xiao Kuang and the other 2 was already very inconceivable, but at the same time, he was able to suppress his mental strength. This was simply heaven-defying. I'm sorry, my mental strength is 3-dimensional units. Jiang Li laughed. Hand over the celestial stones. Kacha kacha. Long Tianlang meditated to prevent his soul from sinking, but his body involuntarily took out a celestial stone from his bosom and threw it towards Jiangli. Jiangli opened his mouth and sucked in the celestial stone. He instantly nodded. Good stuff, you guys can't refine this celestial stone, but I can. With these two celestial stones, when I start to melt later, my life force will gradually increase. Thank you for being the transport captain and transporting me. The Jiang clan is supporting the enemy. You. Long Tianlang's gaze was fierce, but he couldn't do anything. Jiang Li's mental strength was very terrifying, and he couldn't control his body anymore. Only his soul had shrunk into a ball and didn't sink. Bang! Long Tianlang stretched out his hand and fiercely clenched it into a fist, smashing it towards his own head. His own soul was wailing, and his entire brain was lacking oxygen again, causing him to feel drowsy. Sleep, sleep, sleep. You will be fine after a good sleep. Jiangli circulated all of his mental strength, and the four of them gathered together. They all swayed left and right and started to sleep. Let's see what other treasures this person has on his battleship. Jiangli used hypnosis to subdue the four experts, but his expression didn't change. He didn't hurry to refine the celestial stones in his body, but instead took out Long Tianlang's microchip and opened the warehouse at the back of the battleship. Long Tianlang's battleship was the Star King, and it was very big. There were definitely many treasures stored inside, especially spirit stones. After a person had a battleship, it was like a mobile base, and all sorts of resources would definitely be stored inside. Warehouse. Open. The battleship's system started operating, and instantly, a large warehouse appeared at the back. As expected, when the warehouse was opened, Jiang Li saw spirit stones that were cut into squares, and there were at least tens of kilograms. When Jiang Li saw this, his heart was filled with joy. He waved his hand, and instantly, Xiantian astral chi surged out, sucking all the spirit stones into the space of the Grand Emperor relic. Other than that, there were also some elixirs, various medicaments, battle armor, and some modern weapons. Jiang Li didn't stand on ceremony and kept them all. After checking the battleship from top to bottom, he didn't find anything else. He simply started the battleship, opened the space door, and kept the entire battleship into the space. At the same time, he swept Long Tianlang and the other three into the space of the Grand Emperor relic. He then started to ask, Long Tianlang, where is your private base? Bring me there. Yes. Long Tianlang was completely in a state of sleepwalking, and he reported the location of his private base. Even Wang Rulai had set up a private base on the Emperor's Star, let alone Long Tianlang, a leader in the embryonic breathing realm. His small team was ranked in the top 50, and after accumulating for a long time, it would be very terrifying. If Jiang Li wanted to play, he might as well play big. He found the private base of the four of them, and he plundered all the wealth in the base. The private base of two experts in the embryonic breathing realm definitely had a lot of wealth. It was even more than the current wealth of the Red Emperor group. Jiang Li had never underestimated the wealth of an expert in the embryonic breathing realm. The Grand Emperor relic flew up at 100 times the speed of sound, shuttling through the atmosphere. Its speed was faster than the Star King battleship. After a day and a night, it landed in a mountain range. This was Long Tianlang's private base. When Jiang Li looked down from above, he realized that in the middle of the mountain range, there was actually a base with a circumference of about 50 kilometers. It was deep underground, and it was surrounded by the mountain range. It was a feng shui layout. All the wealth in this private base belongs to me. Looking at the base, Jiang Li announced. Chapter 240. The base below was Long Tianlang's private base, but it was built in good order. It was much richer than Wang Rulai's base. Many robots were flying around, carrying out large-scale construction. There were 9 active volcanoes on the surrounding mountains, which were constantly spewing out magma. However, the magma was suppressed by the energy furnace, which produced a steady stream of energy for the operation of the base. Of course, The energy of this base was not as good as that of Hong Heiyu's Archipelago Sea base, but was also a good feng shui layout. Jiangli could see at a glance that there was a tower in the center of the base, which was full of spiritual qi. Obviously, it was the location of a formation eye. He immediately landed. Long Tianlang came out of it like a zombie, opened the gate of the base, and went to the main control room and the huge cultivation room. Jiangli immediately used the Great Emperor Relic to observe the embryonic breath and found that the concentration of spiritual qi in the cultivation room was 50 times that of the outside. In other words, Long Tianlang could produce 50 grams of spiritual qi every day, which was very good. His body definitely could not absorb it. Therefore, Jiangli saw a big pool in the cultivation room. The pool was sealed with energy, and it was full of rolling spiritual liquid. This was what Long Tianlang had accumulated during his daily cultivation. Jiangli collected all the spiritual liquid without hesitation, and then started the program to plunder the base. Beep, beep, beep. The huge optical computer of the base began sound. Base relocation. Master has ordered the entire base to be relocated. Click, click, click. The warehouses were opened one by one, and many robots began to operate. Countless materials stored in the base were sent into the huge space. Jiangli watched all this quietly and began to count the most important treasures of Long Tianlang. In the depths of this base, there was a secret room where his most secret treasures were stored. After several layers of passwords, the door opened. A room appeared, and golden light flashed in the depths of the room. Jiangli saw 4 flying swords at a glance. Of course, their quality was not as good as the 7-killing demon sword, but they were full of spiritual qi. People could use them to cut through the sonic mecha, and each of them could be sold for a lot of money. In addition, there were some bottles and jars, all of which were green medicines. What pill is this? Jiangli pinched open a jar and took out a dark green elixir. He discovered that there was a spiritual aura circulating within the elixir. He looked at it carefully for a while and was shocked. This is a foundation establishment elixir. It was a pill used in the cultivation world to awaken the supreme wisdom of the disciples. If it is translated into the language of humans on Earth, it would be the meditative pill. That's right, this foundation establishment pill was concocted by a peerless expert. A supreme spirit was infused into the pill furnace, along with a large amount of medicinal ingredients and a special technique. After the pill was concocted, if an ordinary disciple were to consume it, not only would their body be greatly improved, more importantly, their mind would be at peace and they would be able to enter a meditative state. Although there was a risk of the pill reversion, it was still a meditative state. Back then, Jiangli had suffered a lot in order to enter meditation. How many trials had he gone through? Finally, after killing Jianglu, he was able to enter meditation in one fell swoop. This kind of cultivation foundation was very solid. But now, others could enter meditation with just one pill. The difference could be said to be huge. Once a person entered meditation, there were many benefits. The most obvious benefit was that they could use their heart to see the world. Their thoughts radiated outwards, making them abnormally quick-witted. Everything within a radius of several hundred meters could be seen vividly in their minds. Even mosquitoes couldn't escape the changes in their thoughts. This kind of thinking could accurately control the body, causing one's cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. Of course, humans hadn't researched this pill yet. Even in the cultivation world, those extremely powerful experts needed a lot of time and mental energy to concoct the foundation establishment pill. They might even need to spend their own blood and sweat. Every pill was very precious, and only direct descendants or even sons and descendants would have them. Jiangli didn't need this pill, but if he took it out to auction, it would probably set off a storm in the human world. There were a total of 20 foundation establishment pills here. Bring it back for research. Take a portion of it to the Crimson Emperor Corporation for auction. Jiangli was excited. I have to continuously increase the exposure of the Red Emperor Corporation. Moreover, my teacher is currently studying the Queen Mother. Deep within the Queen Mother is an extremely tyrannical mental energy. Maybe I can research the mystery of this foundation establishment pill and mass-produce it. In fact, when he dreamt back to the cultivation world, he already knew the refining method of this pill. It was just that he couldn't refine it himself. The refining principle was actually the gathering of mental energy and flesh molecules. This kind of technology was nothing to the Queen Mother's egg. Now, it would take at least a few decades for the Queen Mother's egg to hatch. However, Little Empress gradually mastered some technology that humans never had. In these few decades, Zhongli could use the technology of Little Empress to master some technology, allowing the Red Emperor Corporation's technology to advance to a higher level. They would occupy a very powerful position among humans and even lead the entire technological change of humans. In the entire secret room, the most precious thing was the Foundation Establishment Pill. Zhongli immediately put it away. At this time, he saw a huge space portal standing in the center of the base. It was several hundred meters tall and several hundred meters wide. Countless robots transported all kinds of materials into it. The movement of this base was extremely fast. In a day's time, with the help of thousands of robots, everything was dismantled. Zhongli immediately flew up and went to Xiao Kuang, a space. Xiao Kuang himself was an expert in the embryonic breathing realm. His private base was definitely not bad. As for the other two people's private bases, this time Zhongli also wanted to sweep through them. Since these people wanted to deal with him, then he wouldn't be courteous and sweep them all. Anyway, there was a lot of space in his Great Emperor's relic. It wasn't a big deal to casually store the resources of 3 or 4 bases. If these resources were transported to the Red Emperor Corporation, the whole corporation could immediately grow explosively. Thinking about it, in the whole 36 Hua cities, there were still no experts in the embryonic breathing realm. Hence, the speed at which they accumulated wealth was much slower. With the supplies from Zhongli, the economy of the 36 Hua cities would be pushed to a higher level. In a full 3 days, Zhongli swept through 4 bases. Because there were many robots in each base, with the help of these robots, his sweeping speed was very fast. In Xiao Kuang's base, he also found about 10 kilograms of spiritual stones. Other than that, there was a large amount of elixirs, medicinal herbs, various resources, mecha, and a mechanized production line. Of course, the biggest gain was the building foundation elixir and 2 huge optical computers for research. These 2 optical computers were the size of a house. Their computing speed was unparalleled. If he brought them back, his father's research results would be greatly improved. Long Tianlang's and Xiao Kuang's optical computers were the best concocted. In the whole 36 Hua cities, there wasn't such a good optical computer. After all, they were experts in the embryonic breathing realm. The optical computers were related to their various medicinal research. Naturally, they would try their best to concoct and upgrade them. Of course, Duan Chao's and Luo Jingnan's optical computers were also not bad. In short, bringing the resources of the 4 bases back would be no problem for the Red Emperor Corporation's resources and financial resources to increase tenfold. The wealth of the 4 bases, Zhongli didn't know how many billions of star dollars there were. He only knew that Long Tianlang's and Xiao Kuang's optical computers were worth at least 100 billion star dollars. After collecting everything, Zhongli left and headed to the base where Hong Heiyu was. He wanted to go back and refine the spiritual stones and the spiritual stones that he had collected to improve his body of the Great Emperor. As for Long Tianlang and the other 3, he let them stay in the space of the Great Emperor's relic for a while. When he arrived at the base of the archipelago on the sea, Zhongli realized that there were many changes in the entire base. On every island, there were crystal towers that were constantly absorbing various kinds of energy and pouring it into the deepest part of the ground. This was some of the power derived from the Queen Mother. Why are you back? Hong Heiyu was cultivating in front of the Queen Mother's egg and doing research with Little Darch. Little Darch was dressed in white and had a graceful bearing like a dragon. Hong Heiyu's cultivation deepened day and night, and seemed to be on the verge of breaking through to the mixed origin breath realm. This was because Jiangli realized that there was actually light flickering inside his mentor's body. It was the cells that had completed a transformation. I'm back to increase my cultivation. Jiangli told him everything that had happened in the past few days in detail. Good. Han Blackprison clapped his hands and laughed out loud. You really have guts, Long Tianlang, Xiao Kuang. These two people are extremely strong, and they were once famous. Although their strength is not as good as mine, they can summon the wind and summon the rain in the school. You hypnotized them just like that and plundered all their assets? I didn't plunder all of their assets. I just emptied their base. Jiangli said, I didn't ask them to make a bank transfer. Setting up a base outside was an act that was not protected by the law. If Jiangli plundered everything, no one would be able to find any evidence. Long Tianlang and the others would not be able to do anything about it in the future. If they were allowed to make a bank transfer, it would be blatant robbery. Take out the celestial stones and let me have a look, Little Darch said. Jiangli spat out 2 celestial stones and passed them to Little Darch. Little Darch sized them up and smiled. Good stuff. They are indeed celestial stones. Such high-energy items are immeasurable for your body of the great emperor. Although they're only 2 grams, some of the high-grade energy contained in them is incomparable to spiritual stones. You can start refining them now. How do I refine them? Jiangli asked. I have swallowed them for a long time and still can't dissolve the energy in them. Even embryonic breathing realm can't refine these celestial stones. It doesn't matter. I will help you. Little Darch said, You have obtained quite a number of spiritual stones and spiritual liquid. Take them out now and let the Empress Egg absorb them. I will let the Empress Egg unlock a portion of its mental strength and directly pour the energy of the celestial stones into its body. The energy of 2 grams of celestial stones is too much for you to absorb. This way, Hong Heiyu and I will be able to absorb some. That way, Hong Heiyu might be able to break through to the mixed origin breath realm. That's right. I have obtained more than 20 foundation establishment elixirs. I will use the Empress Egg's technology to conduct research. Can it be mass-produced? Jiangli took out the foundation establishment elixirs. Hong Heiyu's eyes lit up. Good stuff, good stuff. This is what the Empress Egg is researching now. Chapter 241. The Queen Mother and Hong Heiyu's research was mainly on the changes between spirit, energy, flesh, and space, and the foundation establishment pill belonged to this area of research. The first was the research of spirit rice, the second was the technology of space folding, and the third was the technology of biological crystals. These were all major topics of human research, and they were still unsolved. In fact, the Queen Mother's base itself was a huge scientific laboratory. Xiao Di absorbed energy and kept unlocking his spirit, which would allow him to inherit the Queen Mother's memory and obtain the technology tree of a civilization. If it was someone else who got the egg, it wouldn't be as easy as Jiangli because some of the technology tree of the Queen Mother was hard to understand. It would take at least 100 years of research to have some small results. Unfortunately, Xiao Di was the one who occupied the egg. He was a Vision Divine level powerhouse. Although he was dead now, he could continue to learn human knowledge and combine with the Queen Mother to obtain the ability to resurrect. He was like a super AI whose thinking and calculation surpassed all the large computers of humans. Maybe only the most powerful AI of the human elite area, Lord God, could compare. This brought great convenience to Jiang Li's scientific research. I made the foundation establishment pill countless times, Xiao Di said. Lil Monarch said, This is the foundation of the cultivation civilization. It unlocks the wisdom of humans and nurtures disciples. Whichever sect is able to mass produce this kind of elixir represents the fundamental strength of that sect. It's just like the food production of ancient countries. The empire that produces more food is stronger and more prosperous. This is the foundation. With Queen Mother's technology and the power of modern civilization, I'm 70% sure that we can mass produce it. Mass produce, then we'll be rich. Zhongli was excited. Don't be too happy too early. Originally, it would only take a few decades for the Queen Mother to incubate it, but now it needs to do all kinds of scientific research, which consumes a lot of energy. If this continues, it won't be able to incubate for hundreds of years unless it's provided with a large amount of energy. I've already spent all my money buying spirit stones and energy blocks to invest in the Queen Mother, Hong Heiyu said coldly. A big eater. He's definitely a big eater. When Zhongli heard that his mentor had already gone bankrupt, he secretly shook his head. This was because he knew that all the energy produced in this base had been given to the Queen Mother. Even the spiritual energy in the spirit cave had been given to the Queen Mother. Hong Heiyu had even used all his money to buy spirit stones to supplement his expenditure. He was now extremely poor. Cut the crap. Let's refine the immortal stones first. Little Monarch asked Zhongli to take out all the spirit stones. Suddenly, the crystalline cells wriggled, wrapping up dozens of kilograms of spirit stones and a lot of spirit liquid. With a boom, they started burning. The raging spirit fire wrapped around the two immortal stones. Spirit, Saint, Queen Mother, Bug Race. Waves of boundless spirit rippled out from the Queen Mother egg. At this instant, Zhongli felt a vast and mighty spiritual fluctuation that could almost cover an entire planet. This was the might of the heavens. This was the will of the heavens. If the Queen Mother's mental strength fully matures, it will be extremely terrifying. Once it hatches, its mind can instantly sweep across an entire planet. Then, it will send its mental strength into the interior of the planet and start to devour the mind of the entire planet. After thousands of years of evolution, the will of the entire planet will be devoured by it. Then, it will grow stronger and the resources of the entire planet will be plundered by it. After that, it will leave, and the planet will only be left with desolation and no vitality. This is the power of the Queen Mother. Little Monarch's voice sounded in the spiritual wave. Devour the mind of the planet itself. At this moment, Zhongli finally understood the power of the Queen Mother. After hatching, it could actually devour the mind of the entire planet itself. There were countless planets in the vast universe. Ordinary planets didn't have life, but planets with life would definitely have their own will. The will of the planet itself was heaven's will. It operated slowly, but it was extremely powerful. No one could go against it. However, the Queen Mother was born to devour heaven's will. The Emperor Star also had heaven's will. The will of the planet itself was extremely powerful. This time, the Deqian Empire's sacrifice to the heavens was actually the will of the millions of people in the empire. They prayed sincerely and communicated with the will of the Emperor Star. Once it succeeded, the entire Star Sky University would be destroyed. For example, if the heavens will of the Emperor Star was communicated, then the sky would fall and the earth would collapse. Volcanoes would appear under the Star Sky University, earthquakes would occur, and there would be violent winds and thunder above. Even the sky would fall and faint. The tectonic plates would shift, and all sorts of powerful wild animals would surge in and attack the Star Sky University. Judging from the powerful spiritual energy that the Emperor Star contained, it might even cause a spatial tear in the Star Sky University. Once the strong will of the planet was activated, it was normal for a spatial tear to appear. In fact, such things also happen on Earth, such as the Bermuda Triangle. However, even in modern times, it was caused by the will of the planet itself. The planet had its own will. This scientific theory had been researched from ancient times to modern times. There were even great scientists who started researching it. However, even in modern times, they still hadn't figured out how to communicate with the will of the planet itself. However, there was one thing that could be proven. If a planet was developed too much and caused a vicious cycle, then the planet itself would trigger volcanoes, earthquakes, lightning, thunder, and spatial distortions to wipe out anything that harmed it. The strength of the will of the planet itself depended on the vitality of the planet. If the Emperor Star was so full of vitality, then the will of the entire planet must be extremely terrifying. It could even devour the will of the planet, heaven's will. This showed how powerful the Queen Mother would be when she hatched. But the two immortal stones disintegrated. In an instant, Zhongli saw a sea of purple in front of him. The entire secret chamber was filled with majestic purple qi. It could be said that the purple qi came from the east and spread across the world. He took a slight breath, and the purple qi seeped into his body. His body immediately seemed to inflate like a balloon. Quickly activate the body of the great emperor and absorb the energy of the purple qi. Incorporate it into your life genes and change your physique. Strive for the lesser perfection of the body of the great emperor. This immortal qi is a high-level energy in the universe. It's hidden in a very mysterious dimension. Ordinary people can't absorb it, but the great emperor can. The will of the great emperor was born from absorbing the energy of the chaotic realm, which is of a higher level than immortal qi. The heart is like chaos. Chaos is the heart. Start absorbing. Your heart is neither black nor white. It's not material nor non-material. It's neither void nor non-void. There is only one kind, and that is chaos. Chaos can turn into void, and it can also turn into material. Before heaven and earth were created, chaos existed. When chaos was separated, it divided matter and void. Little Dharch was preaching the Tao to Zhongli. Zhongli let out a loud roar. Many whirlpools appeared around his body, endlessly absorbing the immortal qi and violet qi. All of them were absorbed into his body, and they were instantly converted into energy for his cells. His cells wriggled, and his gene strands grew thicker. Jiang Li's height actually started to increase, reaching over 2 meters in height. He did his best to compress his physique. Crack, crack! His body shrank again, but his cells actually appeared purple. The blood in his body had already turned purple gold. This was simply the legendary purple grindstone, true gold body of the Buddha. His life force did not increase, but his life potential continued to rise. The potential surging in his body was even greater. Even his bones had turned purple gold. In the end, his body could not contain too much purple qi, so it began to be converted into energy. His breathing, heartbeat, muscles, and tendons were all changing. Wind and thunder alternated in his body, and water and fire boiled. Finally, his vitality began to rise. From 8, 2 to 9, it rose step by step until it reached 10. Only then did it stop. Has it stagnated? It seems that my understanding of the Archbody is not deep enough. Zhongli felt that his life force could not rise anymore after rising to 10. The purple qi in his body seemed to have encountered a shackle, and it could not break through. This was caused by not having a deep understanding of the Archbody. However, it did not matter. His body now had enough immortal qi. In time, he would see through some of the mysteries of the Archbody, and his cultivation would increase rapidly. Zhongli, your body can no longer absorb more purple qi. However, it does not matter. Quickly meditate on the brain of the universe and make the stars in your mind become real big stars. Your mental strength will increase. Right now, your mental power of 3 dimensions is equivalent to 3 great stars. This is the symbol of the brain of the universe. Suddenly, little Thearka's voice sounded again. Zhongli received guidance, and without hesitation, he immediately meditated, and the brain of the universe appeared. This was pure imagination. The brain of the universe operated to the limit, and countless stars flickered. Jiang Li's meditation had already exceeded his realm. It was like a car that could only run at 200 kilometers per hour running at 300 kilometers per hour. A strong mental load would cause the brain cells to collapse. However, Jiang Li now had the support of immortal qi, and the overload of his brain cells could still be sustained. This was the best time to break through the realm. Woo 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 woo. Jiang Li's brain was like a machine, and it actually produced the sound of high-speed operation. This showed how intense the operation of his brain cells was. After an unknown period of time, with a bang, the brain of the universe in his meditation suddenly exploded and the stars scattered. Jiang Li's spiritual world was blank, as if he was brain dead. However, after that, he was reborn and 3 big stars gradually rose in the depths of his mind. At the same time, there was a dim small star that was constantly gathering light, as if it was about to appear. 3 big stars and 1 small star reflected each other, representing the growth of Jiang Li's mental strength and the change of condensing into a physical body. The starlight illuminated every corner of his body, and there was no more darkness. This was the progress of meditation. The meditation stars of the brain of the universe were illusory, but now they had become a physical big star of mental strength. The 3 big stars were because Jiang Li's mental strength already had 3-dimensional units, and the small star was because the 4th-dimensional unit of mental strength had not been condensed successfully. Altogether, Jiang Li's mental strength was about 3 5-dimensional units. Now that Jiang Li was meditating, the brain of the universe was already gone, and it was replaced by 3 big and 1 small stars. They were bright and gentle, and every cell in his body was penetrated by the starlight. Jiang Li knew that this starlight was the embodiment of mental strength, which meant that he could use his mental strength to completely control every cell in his body and every gene chain. If his mental strength was strengthened again, he could even see that his body was made up of many molecules and atoms. In the future, when he used powerful energy, he could even change the structure of atoms. If he used too much energy, he could turn stone into gold. This was a powerless change that had been researched in the country's era, and it was nothing more than the change of atoms. However, this realm could not be achieved by the embryonic breathing realm. Chapter 242. Jiang Li's mental strength had reached a high level, and his vitality had increased to 10. He had stored enough energy in his body. That way, while his cultivation had increased, his mental strength could control others better. However, there was still a lot of purple gas in the secret room. He couldn't absorb it, so he could only watch Hong Heiyu and the Queen Mother absorb it. Start absorb. The little emperor commanded the Queen Mother with his thoughts. Suddenly, the absorption force was much stronger than Jiang Li's. With a sweep, countless purple gas was absorbed into the crystal. Hong Heiyu's divine thoughts were also sweeping, absorbing the divine gas into his body. In less than an hour, the energy of the celestial stone was divided up completely. Hong Heiyu's whole body was purple, and it started to change. The Queen Mother wriggled. After the purple gas was consumed, more crystals appeared. The little emperor was deep in thought. He seemed to feel that his mental strength had increased a lot, and he was unlocking the Queen Mother's memory and technology tree. Done! Suddenly, the little emperor shouted. As expected, I found the secret of absorbing and implanting the spirit energy gene. The fungus cultivated by the bug clan can absorb the spirit energy of the entire planet. I can evolve this fungus into the structure of spiritual rice. Something that looked like rice was slowly growing out of the Queen Mother's crystal. Jiang Li felt that when the rice plant appeared, there were traces of spirit energy being absorbed. It was a miracle. It was like the photosynthesis of a plant. This is amazing. I can't absorb spirit energy now and can only rely on the Emperor's relic. But this rice plant can? Jiang Li said, although the absorption of spirit energy is very weak and can't be felt, it is indeed absorbing. What kind of technology is this? This is the technology of the bug clan. According to the current situation, if we plant about 10,000 mu of such rice fields, the total amount of spirit energy gathered every day is 1 gram. The little emperor shook his head. So we have to continue studying it. Hopefully, the effect of absorbing spirit energy will be stronger. What? 10,000 mu of land can produce 1 gram of spiritual stone every day? This is also a miracle. Jiang Li was very satisfied. What did 1 gram of spiritual stone mean? It could be sold for tens of millions of star dollars, which was equivalent to the energy of an embryonic breathing realm expert for a day. Planting 10,000 mu of land was equivalent to an embryonic breathing realm expert absorbing spirit energy for you every day. It was worth it, as it was worth tens of millions of star dollars a day. What if they planted 100,000 mu of land? What about 1,000,000 mu? Moreover, He could also make use of feng shui layouts to create a spiritual field with double the amount of spiritual energy. In any case, there was a lot of land on the Emperor's star. It was very vast and could be planted on a large scale. Not to mention millions of acres, even hundreds of millions of acres could be planted. Zhongli remembered that in his previous life, the entire Huaxia country's arable land was 1.8 billion mu. With the help of the robots and the modern agricultural battleship, he could manage that much arable land by himself. In that case, once it was planted, wouldn't there be hundreds and thousands of embryonic breathing realm experts absorbing energy for him? Then, when the spirit rice matured, he would sell it and dump it into the human world in large quantities. Money would come rolling in. Farming could also bring him great wealth. This was his foundation. Of course, this spirit rice was first provided for the people of the 36 Hua cities to use, to cultivate their own direct descendants, and to firmly grasp all the political resources of the 36 Hua cities in their hands. Presumably, when he started selling spirit rice on a large scale, everyone in the 36 Hua cities would be on his side. Even all the humans on Earth would be under his control. At that time, whoever he supported for the presidential election would have a huge voting advantage. With the votes of the entire Earth, this political power could not be ignored. Because the spirit rice's genes are not complete, we still need to continue researching. I will first produce a large number of seeds, which can be used to plant about 100,000 mu of experimental fields. Also, since you have obtained so many robots this time, you can cultivate the land on the island base and build a feng shui layout. According to the current feng shui, it can produce about 2 times the absorption of spiritual power, Little Emperor said with assurance. He was obviously an expert in farming. The entire archipelago was about hundreds of thousands of square kilometers, and it was built with feng shui layout. With a large number of constructions, most places had 2 to 3 times the spiritual energy, and the center of the island had 1,000 times the spiritual energy. This way, it would be more suitable to plant the spirit rice. Moreover, after the spirit rice was planted, the plants would absorb the spiritual energy and take root in the soil. It could even cause the soil to be contaminated with spiritual energy, which would improve the appearance of the entire archipelago. After a long time, the entire archipelago might really become the legendary cave paradise. Hong Heiyu didn't say a word. He was focused on transforming his body constitution. The sacred fetus appeared above his head, and this sacred fetus turned into a purple gold color. Zhongli, leave a portion of the robots behind, and you can go. This time, you have plundered Long Tianlang and the others' belongings. When they wake up, they will probably be in big trouble. Let's see how you are going to suppress them. Hong Heiyu opened his eyes. I will go into seclusion and break through to mixed essence breath with Little Emperor's help. Teacher, don't worry. These people want me to die. They can harm me after receiving the Jiang family's gift. How can I not harm them and let them die? Zhongli smiled and left. The great emperor's relic pierced through the air and began to fly. After flying for about a day, it landed at the place where he subdued the 4 people. Zhongli opened the space door and took the 4 people's optical computer chips. Then, he pierced with his mental strength, and the 4 people woke up one after another. The first to wake up was Long Tianlang. He spat out a mouthful of blood when he woke up. Then, he saw Zhongli and was shocked. He instinctively raised his wrist to look at the chip, but it was gone. Little bastard, you took my chip? Xiao Kuang had also woken up. He was extremely gloomy and almost wanted to curse out loud. Boundless humiliation filled his heart. Trash. How dare you? You're simply lawless. This is Starry Sky University. Do you know that you violated human law? Human law? Zhongli smiled. Didn't you say a few days ago that strength is respected? Why are you mentioning the law now? How many days have passed? Long Tianlang was almost subconsciously shocked. Didn't we just wake up? What did you do to us these few days? It's nothing much. Zhongli snickered. I just ransacked the 4 of your private bases. Everything became my wealth. Long Tianlang, you are really not bad. You actually have something as good as a Foundation Establishment pill. However, it is all mine now. Foundation Establishment pill. You took my Foundation Establishment pill. Long Tianlang instinctively wanted to jump up as if his wife was being humiliated. However, Jiang Li's eyes flashed. Sit down. Crack. Long Tianlang felt dizzy. He couldn't control himself and sat down. His vitality was very strong, more than 20, but his spiritual power was much weaker than Jiang Li's. Especially after Jiang Li refined the immortal stone, he turned the meditation of the brain of the universe into 3.5 stars. His spiritual power became more condensed. Now, he could completely subdue him with just a thought. In the past, Jiang Li's spiritual power was scattered, but now it was completely different. In the future, when his spiritual power became stronger, the stars would become more and more. In the end, starlight could even penetrate his body and illuminate a pure land. At that time, his realm would be equivalent to that of Buddha. You really did sweep through my private base. This is naked robbery. I will sue you and sentence you to life imprisonment or even death. Xiao Kuang roared. He also wanted to attack, but his body couldn't move even half a finger. The other two people, Luo Zhengnan and Duan Chao, were even worse. They didn't even have the strength to speak. I can also take your lives. Jiang Li's tone became murderous. Xiao Kuang was shocked. He knew that Jiang Li could kill him at any time. However, he was still very stubborn. You dare? Are you not afraid of Starry Sky University's punishment? You can send me to my death. Why can't I send you to your deaths? Jiang Li, I can completely make it look like you were killed by the natives of other planets. Starry Sky University won't suspect me because I don't have the strength to kill you. You're simply insane. Xiao Kuang's heart was filled with fear. Xiao Kuang, don't say any more. Long Tianlang calmed down. Where there's life, there's hope. He can indeed kill us at any time. No wonder the Jiang clan gave us celestial stones to kill him. He is so difficult to deal with. Then he started to negotiate with Jiang Li. Jiang Li, you have gained enough benefits now. Our private base has been emptied by you. Can you let us go? Let you go? Jiang Li laughed coldly. How do I know that you won't take revenge? You launched all kinds of attacks in Starry Sky University. The university came to investigate me. I got into a lot of trouble. We promise we won't make things difficult for you. Xiao Kuang also reacted. He knew that the situation was not in his favor. Only a hero would know when to yield and when to stand tall. If you kill us, it will more or less be troublesome. Moreover, it's better to have an ally than an enemy. We also have a big family behind us. Long Tianlang, his brother Long Tianwang, is the leader of the Heavenly King team. His cultivation is not below your teacher, Hong Heiyu. He is also at the second level of the embryonic breathing realm. He is one of the higher-ups in Starry Sky University. Even the vice principal can't control him. If you deal with Long Tianlang and offend his brother, it will not be worth it. The Heavenly King team. It was a team ranked in the top 10. The teams ranked in the top 10 were completely different from ordinary students. They were even the backbone of Starry Sky University. They owned shares of Starry Sky University and were shareholders of the university. Every student stood at the peak. They were even important figures in the elite sector army. Being a student of Starry Sky University was just one of their identities. Sometimes, they weren't on the Emperor's Star, but were fighting on the battlefields of other planets. Can the Heavenly King team scare me? Jiang Li laughed. When an ordinary man is angry, blood will splash 5 steps away. Even a king can't stop it. If I kill you now, don't tell me your souls will appear in Long Tianwang's dreams. Let's talk. Let's fight to the death. Long Tianlang hurriedly said, Jiang Li, how about this? Even if you are a kidnapper, you can still be ransomed. I have about 200 billion cash on me. I could transfer it to you now. Don't worry, this isn't robbery. It's a legal procedure. For example, I can invest in your Red Emperor group. Xiao Kuang also has 100 billion cash on him. The 4 of us can pool together a huge sum of 300 billion. How about it? After investing in your Red Emperor group, your company can expand many times. That's fine, Jiang Li said. Then let's sign the contract now. We welcome you as shareholders of the Red Emperor Corporation. I'll send a message to the Jiang family, and they'll think that you accepted the gift and went back on your word. This way, you'll be firmly tied to my chariot. How about it? This. Long Tian Lang hesitated. It wasn't a good thing to offend the Jiang family, but he had no other choice. He could only agree. At that moment, Jiang Li asked them to transfer the money one by one. At the same time, they signed a contract. Then, he asked them to publish a statement on Red Emperor Group's official website. They would announce that they had received an investment and would be cooperating with them. This way, the Jiang family would soon hear about it. Chapter 243. Long Tianlang, Xiao Kuang, and the others were completely subdued by Jiang Li just like that. Although they might cause trouble again in the future, their influence would definitely decrease as Jiang Li would not let them off so easily. He would definitely participate in the sacrificial ceremony with them. During this event, Jiang Li would be able to control them better. Ding dong. Your contract has been completed. Your business registration has been completed. 300 billion star dollars has been paid. Once the contract arrived, Jiang Li kept it and looked at his bank account. Everyone, I cannot return your optical brain chips to you for now. I don't want you to secretly report to me, and it would be disadvantageous to me. Also, we need to make a record of this mission. We will use your optical brain chips to record it, understand? Now that we have fallen into their hands, we will do whatever you say. Long Tian Lang smiled bitterly. Don't smile so bitterly. If I fall into your hands, my fate will be even worse. Jiang Li snorted coldly. Let's go, we will change our clothes and enter the Qian Empire's territory. He was already prepared. He took out 4 sets of clothes. He looked like a classical scholar, and after changing his clothes, he became elegant like an ancient scholar who had transmigrated to the modern world. Long Tianlang and Xiao Kuang also changed their clothes. However, they were not dressed as scholars, but as servants. When they walked on the road, people would think that they were 3 servants following a young master on a sightseeing tour. Starry Sky University had a deep understanding of the aboriginals on the Emperor planet. They could disguise themselves at any time. Long Tianlang's battleship had all sorts of clothes that were specially prepared for this mission. However, after wearing the clothes of servant, he still felt deflated. However, he had no choice. His skills were inferior to others, and he was suppressed to death. He could only swallow his anger. We have to be careful. The aboriginals are similar to our feudal dynasties. However, there are many differences. The aboriginals have the existence of gods. Every action is monitored by the gods. Although Long Tianlang was furious, he still reminded them the Qin Empire is divided into provinces, prefectures, counties, towns, and then villages. There was a village every 5 kilometers, and every village had a temple dedicated to one existence, which was the Emperor God, which was also the heaven's will of the entire Emperor Star. Unlike us humans, polytheistic religions, some believe in Buddha, some believe in Christ, some believe in God, and some even believe in some messy things. Because of this, the Qin Empire on the Emperor Star has a unified faith. For tens of thousands of years, the Emperor of the Empire would hold a large-scale ceremony to worship the Emperor God every year. This way, the Empire and the Emperor Star would form an inseparable connection. This is the guidance of an expert. Jiang Li's eyes flashed. Using the power of the entire nation to worship the Emperor God day and night, communicating with the Emperor Star's own heaven's will. This way, the fate of the entire empire would communicate with the planet's heaven's will. In the long run, the entire empire would definitely have good weather and no disasters. Moreover, the nation would prosper and experts would emerge one after another. There was no such situation in the history of Earth, because the gods were in chaos. That was why dynasties changed frequently. In fact, in the history of Huaxiao on Earth, as early as the spring and autumn warring states period, people had already realized the importance of sacrifices. They said, the important things of a country are sacrifices and military. This meant that the important things of a country were sacrifices and war. During the era of a country, people thought that it was feudal superstition and didn't believe in such things. However, after systematic scientific research, They realized that the human heart could indeed change some minor changes on the planet, but it had to accumulate over a long period of time. On Earth, there used to be sacrifices to the planet's will. They were the Queen of Earth God and the Emperor God. However, it was short-lived and didn't have much influence. If there was a 1,000-year dynasty that worshipped the planet's will every day, it would be like the Qin Empire and wouldn't fall. This was actually the ancient thinking of the right time, the right place, and the right people. Let's go. Let's go deep into the Qin Empire's territory and see how the entire empire is like. Zhongli waved his hand, and everyone leaped up. They moved as fast as lightning, faster than the speed of sound. After a day and a night, they were no longer in the primeval forest. They could see signs of people reclaiming the land. Many farmlands appeared on the ground, between the rivers and by the lakes. Some houses were scattered on the outskirts, and there were even villages and fortresses. They were all built rather well, surpassing the ancient feudal level of productivity. Look, that is the foundation of the Qin Empire's agriculture. It is a plant called the golden millet. Ever since they found the village, they started to be careful and didn't show their faces in front of others. Zhongli saw that there were some things that looked like rice being planted in the farmlands. He secretly took some over. As expected, there were grains of golden rice. After pinching them open, he realized that they contained many minerals. The nutritional content was very high, and it tasted like super protein. If such things were cooked into porridge, the effect would be very good. No wonder the entire Qin Empire had such a strong army. Be careful. There's a shrine over there. It is used to worship the Emperor God. We can't cause too much of a commotion in case the God spirit finds out. Long Tianlang reminded. As expected, Zhongli discovered a temple in the middle of a large field. It had red walls and yellow tiles. There was a god sitting in the temple. It had a snake's body and a human's head. There was a dragon behind it. It seemed like it could move the clouds and rain, and it also controlled lightning. In front of the temple, there was an endless stream of people kowtowing and praying. They offered incense and chanted, "Emperor God, you are the venerable of heaven and earth. We sincerely pray that you will not get sick, that the weather will be good, and that your career will be successful." This temple had been standing for many years, and it had always been filled with incense. Zhongli observed carefully and realized that the god in the temple was indeed a little spiritual. The statue emitted a spiritual light that couldn't be seen by the naked eye. It was changing the weather. As expected, this group of natives communicated with the Emperor Star's will. They sacrificed to heaven and earth and obtained the heaven and earth's will to slowly improve. This is indeed a great undertaking that can't be completed in a day. Zhongli knew that to reach this step, the entire Qin Empire had sacrificed for tens of thousands of years. Earthlings couldn't learn it all. Earth didn't have an entire god spirit. There were only a few large sects, but they weren't of the same level. Humph! Long Tianlang looked at the god and suddenly snorted. It's nothing for the Qin Empire to sacrifice to the Emperor God because they can obtain practical benefits. However, it's very problematic for us humans to believe in Christ because Christ doesn't bring benefits to humans. It might even bring disaster. What do you mean? Zhongli was shocked. This is a big secret of the upper echelons of humanity. Long Tianlang said, the technological civilization of humans started when they invaded Earth's spaceship. The fall of that spaceship is still a secret. However, after the upper echelons researched it, they discovered that some things in the spaceship were similar to the angels in Christian mythology. Furthermore, according to various materials, Christian beliefs were passed down to Earthlings by this extraterrestrial civilization. Their goal was to make the majority of Earthlings believe in Christianity. Their hearts would change, and they would suppress the will of their own planet. Then, they would descend and capture Earth's will. However, when they captured Earth's will, they were counterattacked by Earth's will. Thus, they perished and benefited Earthlings. Zhongli was shocked. He couldn't control himself when he heard this news. Is this true? There's a high chance of it being true. Xiao Kuang licked his lips. However, this secret has always been suppressed by Christianity. Now, 70% of the human population is white and 80% of the white people believe in Christianity. This number is too large. Once this matter is announced, Christianity will collapse. Thus, they sealed this information tightly and even secretly destroyed this information. Damn it! When Zhongli heard this, he was filled with rage. He understood everything now. Humans grew on Earth and were equivalent to Earth's cells or bacteria. If they sacrificed to Earth's will, they would be beneficial bacteria. If they believed in other gods, they would be harmful bacteria. As humans multiplied, more and more people believed in other gods. This was equivalent to cancer spreading and suppressing Earth's will. When that civilization descended, they could take advantage of Earth's weakness to steal Earth's will. A planet's will was very strong. Once it was captured, there would be many benefits. He understood everything now. Suddenly, the history of humans and various civilizations became clear. Back on Earth, countries that believed in Christianity were the first to enter an industrial civilization and go through the Industrial Revolution. However, if it wasn't for the Industrial Revolution, China would still be an agricultural civilization. The Industrial Civilization's specialty was the emergence of machinery, which greatly increased the ability to interfere with natural disasters. The agricultural civilization depended on the weather. This way, Earth would have less influence on humans, which was the spread of cancer. The industrial civilization was a revolution for humans. However, to Earth's will, it was the spread of cancer. It was obvious that the industrial civilization was the result of Christianity and other civilizations interfering. Zhongli thought of the great scientists in history, Newton and Da Vinci. They were all Christians. If that was the case, then Christians were guilty. Now that Christianity was extremely powerful, even President Slock was a Christian. This meant that humans were still in danger because the alien civilization that was trying to capture Earth's was spreading a large amount of faith among humans. This was a tumor that would spread sooner or later, and all of humanity would become slaves. After Zhongli thought through everything, he felt hatred and killing intent towards Christianity. This was no longer a personal hatred, but a matter of life and death for the entire human race. If he hadn't seen the Qin Empire's sacrificial ceremony, how could he have thought through this? Long Tianlang looked at Jiang Li's expression and knew that he was filled with killing intent. He couldn't help but say, "Jiang Li, we are all people of Chinese blood. There is no need to kill each other." Shoo! Jiang Li took a deep breath. This is a separate matter. For now, we are powerless to interfere with the affairs of Christianity. I believe that the ambitious people of humanity have noticed this. What we need to do now is to interfere with this sacrificial ritual. Jiang Li, there is something that I don't know if I should say. Long Tianling wanted to say something, but stopped. Speak. Jiang Li's eyes flashed. We can't interfere with this sacrificial ceremony. Think about how many experts there are in the Qin Empire. Even if we get rid of them, how can heavens will interfere? The alien civilization is so strong and was defeated by Earth's will. If we are attacked by heaven's will, we will instantly collapse. The Emperor Star is much bigger than Earth, and its will is much thicker than Earth. Long Tianlang said, "We are here to find out some information and obtain some benefits. We definitely can't destroy the sacrificial ceremony, or else there will be an unexpected disaster." Chapter 244. Unforeseen Disaster. When Zhongli heard these words, his heart trembled. Actually, he was already in awe of the Qin Empire's tens of thousands of years of sacrifices to the God Emperor. After all, this was the will of a planet. It could be said to be the combination of heaven, earth, and man. The foundation of the entire empire was unshakable. He even felt that if he performed remarkable powers here, these gods would come out to interfere if there was too much of a commotion. They could congeal a strong wind, send out lightning, or send down meteorites or heavenly fire. When he stepped into the territory of the Qin Empire, he felt a sense of oppression. This was the power of the combination of the will of the planet and man. At this moment, he didn't look down on the natives of other planets. Instead, he admired them. If Earth civilization didn't have a fallen ship, it would probably be inferior to the civilization of the Dacian Empire. Then what is our mission this time? Zhongli said. You don't just want me to die, right? The higher-ups of the Starry Sky University have organized many small teams. Are they all here to die? No, there are many benefits to this sacrifice, Long Tianlang said hesitantly. Zhongli, this is a big secret. I originally didn't want to tell you. But if you guarantee our safety and cooperate with us sincerely, I will tell you. Is that so? Zhongli waved his hand. I should have guessed some of this secret. If I'm not wrong, during this sacrifice, there will be changes in the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. The dragon veins of the Dacian Empire will also change. We can obtain some of the mineral veins. No, this is just a small trick. Long Tianlang pretended to be mysterious. Then it has something to do with the will of the planet. The intelligence in Jiang Li's mind kept working. Ever since he had refined the brain of the universe into 3.5 stars, his thoughts were very clear. It was as if he could calculate everything and predict all kinds of changes. His imagination and calculation were like a supercomputer. Any complicated calculation could be done in an instant. Long Tianlang's eyes were filled with surprise. He looked at Jiang Li in horror as he heard Jiang Li speak. During the sacrifice, the entire will of the planet will change and become highly condensed. If you find the opportunity to integrate your will into the heaven and earth, you will obtain the incredible benefits of being one with nature. It is almost certain that you will increase your realm. For example, you are now at the first level of the embryonic breathing realm, contemplation breathing. If I can comprehend the various mysterious changes in the vast will of the planet, I will definitely be able to advance to the divine breath level. Jiang Li smiled. However, we are foreign creatures. If we try to comprehend the will of heaven and earth, we will definitely be rejected. When that time comes, we will die without a burial. The only possibility is that someone will interfere. If that happens, we will be able to take advantage of it. Don't you think so? Long Tianlang's body trembled. Did you guess all of this? Not bad. Jiang Li smiled mysteriously. Don't underestimate my spiritual power, Long Tianlang. My current spiritual power is not something you can calculate. All right then, I'll tell you. Actually, you should know that the Dacian Empire is carrying out the sacrifice to the heavens, mainly to use the majestic power of nature to wipe out the Star University. This matter was also instigated by the experts from the mysterious cultivation world. This time, the mysterious cultivation world's experts came as reinforcements with ulterior motives. They want to capture the will of the entire Emperor Star. Long Tianlang knew that Jiang Li had already guessed most of it. If he didn't say it now, it would be too late. So it's like this. There's no need to continue. Jiang Li nodded with a smile. I already know. The cultivation world really is like this. People who aren't of our race have different intentions. Our old saying is correct. The Dacian Empire thinks that they have a helper, but they don't know that it is a disaster that will destroy the world. This time, the Dacian Empire used all of its power to sacrifice for someone else. There must be some vision domain realm old ancestor controlling it from afar. They will capture the will of the planet and refine it into an earth-shattering divine weapon. However, the will of the planet will fight back. This will create a large disturbance, and our chance will come. Most likely, Long Tianlang admired Jiang Li a bit at this moment. Since it's like this, let's move. Jiang Li waved his hand. Relax. We'll take advantage of the situation this time. If we don't, we'll just retreat. It doesn't matter if we can't complete the mission. This mission is already not something we can control. While they were talking, the four of them gradually went deeper into the Dacian Empire. After around 1,000 kilometers, a large city appeared in front of the four of them. This large city was very grand, and the city walls were dozens of feet tall. It stood on the plains, and there was a large river flowing through it. There were wide roads outside the city, with carriages coming and going, and people coming and going like a tide. This is a city of the Dacian Empire. Long Tianlang said, How is it? It's even bigger than our Earth's ancient feudal capital. It is indeed very big, but the people of this empire are all very strong, much stronger than the ancient feudal people. Adding in the rich resources of the Emperor's Star, they can indeed build a stronger civilization. However, the reason why they don't have technology is very simple. It is the result of the sacrifice to the heavens. The Emperor's Stars does not allow a strong technological civilization to appear, so it is destined to become a cultivation civilization. Jiang Li's eyes flashed. Let's enter the city and take a look. That's good too. I have several identity cards in my battleship. They were originally people of the Qian Empire, and I used them to hide in the Empire after I killed them. Without these identity cards, it'll be hard for us to move. Long Tianlang said, I've already found them. One for each person that comes. Zhongli took out 5 identity cards. These identity cards were made of white jade, and there was a faint aura on them. Every person of the Qian Empire had to have such an identity card. Otherwise, if they were found, they would be killed without mercy. At the border of the Qian Empire, there were very few people and there were not many experts. However, as they went deeper, there were many cities and it was very developed. Although it was not as developed as the modern human society, there were many experts who form an army to patrol everywhere. Without an identity, once they were discovered, they would be easily destroyed. Although they were all in the embryonic breathing realm, going against an empire was courting death. Jiang Li and the others found an opportunity to appear on the main road. They sat in a carriage and drove towards the city. Stop! At the entrance of the tall city wall of the city, a group of soldiers stopped them. This group of soldiers were all riding horses and holding knives. The horses were like angry dragons as they whizzed over. Every one of them had rich essence qi, and their vitality was above 1. 5. What's going on? Jiang Li popped his head out of the carriage. The people driving the carriage were Long Tianlang, Xiao Kuang, Duan Xiao, and Luo Zhongnan. They were all wearing servant clothes and were waiting outside. The carriage was very big and the road was made of stone slabs. It was flatter than cement. Routine inspection. Are you all from outside? A leader of the soldiers came forward. He was riding on a horse and cupped his hands. Jiang Li took out his identity card and said, Jiangning Prefecture Xiutsai, Yuguzi. I travel around the world. These from my servants. So it's Lord Xiutsai. The soldier was shocked and returned the identity card to Jiang Li. He then checked the identity cards of the other 4 people and found that they matched. Only then did he let them go. Go in. Recently, the whole country has been under martial law. The whole country is going to worship the heavens. In order to prevent evil spirits from invading, we have to conduct a strict inspection. If we have offended you, please forgive us. No problem. It is your duty. Jiang Li waved his hand and thought to himself, as expected, the identity of a Xiutsai is not bad. His status is quite high. His identity card was that of an Xiutsai of the empire. This Xiutsai was very strong. He had brought people out of the Qian Empire to train outside. However, he was killed by Long Tianlang and obtained his identity and all sorts of information. This made it easier for him to disguise himself and get closer to the Qian Empire. He could even get to the capital of the Qian Empire without any obstructions. They spoke in the language of the Qian Empire without any flaws. Recently, the inspection has become much stricter. Long Tianlang sighed and did not dare to act rashly. He passed through the city gates and entered the county. He could hear the sounds of people peddling their wares. There were all sorts of tall buildings and fragrant smells. The men were handsome and the women were beautiful. It was like a prosperous ancient world. The roads were wide and there were drainage ditches, underground waterways, and rivers in the middle of the city. Everything was well maintained and there were people cleaning the streets. This was the ancient city that he had dreamed of. Actually, there were ancient cities like this in the 36 Hua cities. Everything was ancient and had ancient facilities. It was not modern and was a tourist area. It was specially developed for people who liked to reminisce about the past. The effect was not bad. At night, it was a picturesque scene. No wonder we humans want to occupy this empire. This empire is indeed prosperous. Zhongli thought to himself, let's go and find an inn to rest and find out more information. The carriage came to the entrance of an inn. Zhongli spent 3 coins and booked a decent courtyard. The money in the Qian Empire was made of special metal. It was neither gold nor silver. It was divided into 2 types, big coins and small coins. The big coins were purple and the small coins were green. 1,000 small coins were equivalent to 1 big coin. After settling down comfortably in the courtyard, Zhongli saw the waiter of the inn serving food. There were a total of 5 side dishes, 5 meat dishes, and a big soup. Zhongli tasted it. It was delicious, and he nodded his head. The people in the Qian Empire live a good life. I don't see any beggars or refugees. This is your first time in the Qian Empire, right? As Long Tianlang ate, he used his mind to communicate with Zhongli. Putting aside the fact that we are enemies, the Qian Empire is indeed an ancient empire with a highly developed civilization. Everyone lives and works in peace and contentment. The entire country is thriving and the weather is good. If we don't attack and continue to develop for thousands of years or even tens of thousands of years, the entire country and planet will be in perfect harmony and sublimate. It will become a place like the mysterious cultivation battlefield. After eating, let's go upstairs to see the changes in the city and feel the ancient style. Zhongli got up and walked up to the building of the inn. This inn had 15 floors and was made of wood. Each floor was very high, about the height of a 30-story building on Earth. Standing on the tall building, he could see the situation in the county. He walked to the highest floor and looked down. He saw that the streets of the county were filled with people and carriages. It was a flourishing scene. Suddenly, he looked towards the center of the county. There was a huge temple, and inside the temple was a statue of a god that was tens of meters tall. It gave off a strong divine aura. Chapter 245. There were temples everywhere, worshipping the one and only God. Worshipping the real heaven and earth, the weather was good. This was the scene of the Qian Empire. Every village had a small statue, every town had a medium statue, and the county had a big statue. It stood tall and was worshipped by many people. This wasn't a matter of a year or 2, nor was it a matter of 100 or 200 years. It was worshipped for thousands of years. Humans had a close connection with heaven and earth. Zhongli looked at the tall statue in the center of the county and didn't dare to act rashly. This wasn't some clay statue, but a god that was a combination of faith in heaven and earth. Actually, this was similar to the super-intelligent computer in human society. Every city had a super-large main control computer that monitored everything in the city. It controlled the city's energy, weapons system, defense system, water and electricity system, education system, banking system, all kinds of complicated situations. In other words, if a person robbed or killed someone in the city, there was almost no need for the police. The computer could directly control the monitoring system and then activate the fire control system to kill the person. This statue is not to be underestimated. Zhang Li and Long Tianlang communicated telepathically. Long Tianlang and the other 3 also went up to the high platform and looked around. They could see the scenery of the county. The customs and prosperity were like a dream. They couldn't bear to destroy such a beautiful place. Zhang Li even saw that there was a recreational area in the county that was similar to a human park. There were green trees and lush flowers and grass. There were even birds like cranes and white deer running around. Some people were taking their children for a stroll. Life was leisurely and elegant, so we have to be careful. I came to the Qian Empire once and almost couldn't return. I thought that because I was an embryonic breathing realm expert and had the technology of the warship, I could do whatever I wanted and capture slaves. Who knew that I almost lost my life here? Long Tianlang recalled the past and then laughed. Hee. This time, there are many people who accepted the mission. Many people don't know the power of the Qian Empire's worship to heaven and earth. They think that they can rely on technology to defeat everything. Wait until they experience the wrath of heaven. Then they will know. Wrath of heaven. Zhongli sensed the changes in nature and could sense that the energies of nature were entering the city and connecting with the statue of a god. I like to see what the wrath of heaven looks like. Then he saw Tianlong's nervous expression and couldn't help but say, "Don't worry, I know how powerful it is. I won't test the law. Look, the river outside the county city is a branch of the Qian River. It's also a branch of the Dragon Vein." Long Tianlang pointed at an endless river outside the city. "The Great Gan Empire has a main Dragon Vein river called the Heaven River. The other rivers are all branches of it. This river is also the condensation of the Great Gan Empire's Dragon Vein. Look at this river. The water flow is calm, and it flows like a mirror. Actually, 20,000 years ago, the river would frequently surge and flood villages and cities. However, one day, the Great Gan Empire's citizens prayed to the heavens and touched the heavens. There wasn't even a natural disaster. I have to say, it's a miracle. I found a book on the history of the Great Gan Empire in the study room of the inn. Let's take a look." Xiao Kuang took out a book that was written in the native language of this planet. It was a type of pictographic language that was twisted and beautiful. It contained the changes of the human body and the shape of the mountains and rivers. Jiangli could understand it. He flipped open the book. The words were simple and many parts were skipped over. It was roughly like this. The Great Gan Empire had a history of 23,000 years. In the first 3,000 years, there were natural disasters and wars. However, there were saints who led the people to pray to the heavens and the earth. They survived the most difficult 3,000 years. Then, one day, they touched the heavens and the entire empire experienced good weather. There weren't any more disasters in 20,000 years. As expected, after 3,000 years of praying, they finally connected with the will of the planet. Unfortunately, the humans on Earth weren't able to connect with the will of the planet, and they weren't able to become one with the world. Even if there were experts in history who could become one with the world, the power of an individual was too small, and they were quickly drowned in the waves. Jiang Li closed the book. "It's really strange. This empire has developed for 20,000 years, but it's still the same. It hasn't walked out of the universe." Duan Chao said, "What's so strange about that? The primitive humans on Earth appeared millions of years ago, but they ate raw meat and didn't evolve for millions of years. Suddenly, a few thousand years ago, civilization exploded and they reached this stage in such a short period of time. That's not normal." Xiao Kuang had a mocking smile on his face. "We need to find the mastermind behind the scenes. I don't like the feeling of my fate being controlled by others." Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. What we need to do now is to merge our aura into the environment of the Great Gan Empire so that people don't notice that we don't fit in. When we enter the imperial capital, that will be the place to worship the heavens. If people find out that we are demons from beyond the heavens, then we will die without a burial place. Long Tianlang immediately said, "Let's familiarize ourselves with the environment first, and then take a boat to enter the imperial capital. Look at this tributary. It can connect to the Heavenly River. The two sides of the Heavenly River are the provincial cities, and the tributary is the county. We can take a boat all the way to the Great Gan Empire and observe the changes in the feng shui of the empire." "That's fine." Jiang Li suddenly thought of something. "What if we meet someone we know?" He looked towards the city gate. Instantly, he saw a few carriages enter from the gate. They were also doing a routine inspection. The people in the carriages had a different temperament. They were very arrogant and looked at others as if they were from a higher civilization. Jiang Li could tell at a glance that they were students from the Starry Sky University. There were experts among them. Moreover, these students were not of Chinese descent, but white students. People with Chinese descent would more or less have some feelings for the Qian Empire, which was similar to the feudal civilization of ancient China. Only white students would have a natural desire to burn, kill, and plunder this civilization. Ignore them. Long Tianlong's eyes flashed and became ferocious. At this time, the bigger the target, the easier it is to meet with mishaps. If necessary, we can even kill a few to gain the trust of the Great Gan Empire. They don't know how powerful the Great Gan Empire is and think that we can do whatever we want just because our civilization is higher than theirs. This is foolish behavior. In fact, The Great Gan Empire civilization is very advanced, and it is harmonious everywhere. We just lack time. If we develop for tens of thousands of years and expand our territory to all parts of the world, it will be difficult for us humans to conquer them. This sentence showed how ferocious Long Tianlang was. He had killed many of his companions in the past. Although the rules of the Starry Sky University were very strict, at his level, it didn't matter if he did something out of line as long as no evidence was found. These people can't integrate into the Great Gan Empire civilization. It is only a matter of time before they are found out. Xiao Kuang said, "Look, they actually want to stay in our inn. Be careful and don't expose yourself. Try not to come out and not come into contact with them." Long Tianlang said, "Go back and pretend to sleep. Concentrate and see what these people are saying." Okay. Jiangli immediately went back. The five of them went to their own small courtyard and settled down. As expected, in another courtyard of the inn, there were more than 10 people staying. Among them were 3 leaders and some teammates. "Oh God, this place is very rich." A female student said, "This reminds me of the ancient times when we invaded China and robbed their wealth. Captain Gray, we are the Great Gan Empire smoothly this time. I don't think this empire is very good, but there are many good things. I know that every county has spirit stone reserves in their treasury. Should we rob them immediately? The men here are strong, and the women are mostly beautiful. Should we capture them all and make them slaves?" In the courtyard, a group of people gathered together. They were all white people, but after putting on makeup, they looked exactly like the people of the Great Gan Empire. "We don't have that many things to store resources. Robbing them is not appropriate." The captain called Gray said, "This time we have 3 squads, Lightning Squad, Green Devil Squad, and Clark Squad. There are a total of 12 people. How many resources can we take back?" "Gray, what do we do? Are we going back empty-handed? Just robbing some spirit stones?" Another captain frowned. "No. This time, countless squads from Starry Sky University have received the mission to destroy the Great Gan Empire's sacrifice to heaven. As for how we destroy it, it will depend on our own ability." That Captain Gray laughed. "I really want to conquer this civilization. God bless us. We can obtain a lot of wealth." "Oh, Gray, how do we obtain wealth?" Another white female student winked. "Very simple. Control the highest official here and let him lead the army to rebel. We will be the commanders. Whoever disobeys, we will kill them. This is the colonial policy." Gray clenched his fist. "I think that Emperor God should also be torn down and built into our church. We will believe in God." "Oh, these heretics believe in some Emperor God," the white female student said flirtatiously. "Then shall we start tomorrow? Or tonight?" "We'll start the operation tonight." Gray's face turned cold. "We will sneak into the government office here and use hypnosis to control the officials. Then we will control the army one by one. First, we will start the rebellion. At the same time, we will take all the resources here and destroy the entire empire. Our contribution will be considered complete." These white students are really bold. Long Tianlang heard it clearly. They actually control the officials to rebel. They want to overthrow the Emperor God and establish Christianity to believe in Jesus. They are bold, but we need to observe carefully. Jiang Li sneered and waited to see what would happen. After he figured out that Christianity might be related to the fallen spaceship civilization, he hated these people. Just as they were discussing, the sound of hooves outside like a storm suddenly surrounded the inn. At the same time, murderous intent surged. "Kill the demons. The demons have invaded. We are under the orders of the government to kill the demons." Chapter 246. Bang! Many soldiers broke through the door with torches in their hands. Saber light reflected the light of the torches, illuminating the entire place. The entire inn was thrown into chaos, and many of the guests were frightened. But at this time, a few generals shouted, "Guests, there's no need to panic. This time, we're going to kill the evil demon. Surround the 3rd courtyard." The 3rd courtyard was where the group of Caucasian students lived. "What? Have we been discovered?" At this moment, Jiang Li and Long Tianlang came to their senses, but then they were relieved. The group of white students were discovered. So fast. The Qin Empire's government is really fast. I knew that these white students wouldn't be able to hide for long. They lack respect for civilization and want to control the government to rebel and turn the empire into a colony. Bang, bang, bang. The door of the third courtyard was violently broken. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Many soldiers jumped to the high ground, and in an instant, arrows flew into the courtyard like locusts. The sound of bowstrings tore through the air, creating a terrifying sonic boom. Oh no! How did our identities get exposed? The group of white students who were still discussing how to control the officials in the middle of the courtyard were shocked. They stood up abruptly, and their eyes flickered. A white woman's face revealed an excited expression. These damn natives, kill them. Kill them all. How dare they attack us? Such a lowly civilization deserves to be robbed and plundered by us. Roar! She raised her hands, and a ball of Scientian earth energy surged out, forming a storm that revolved around her body. All the arrows that were shot toward her were turned into dust by the Scientian earth energy. Her entire body shot out, traversing through the air as she began to kill the soldiers. Instantly, 3 soldiers were torn apart by the Scientian earth energy, and their bones were crushed. After all, they were students from Starsky University. How could these soldiers be a match for them? Since we've been discovered, there's nothing to hide anymore. Kill these lowly natives. They are as lowly as the Chinese civilization on Earth. At this moment, Captain Gray and 2 tall white men stood in the middle of the courtyard. They didn't make a move and just strolled leisurely. Plunder all the resources in this city. Kill the men and leave the women. If they know what's good for them, they can stay for us to colonize. As he spoke, the people beside him leapt out one by one and began to kill. Immediately, a bloody stench filled the air as soldiers were killed in the blink of an eye. But the soldiers kept charging in, and the strong bows and crossbows behind them did not stop. Damn it, these demons are so powerful. On the main street outside the inn, a group of furious horses could be seen. The county magistrate had arrived, and behind him was a Confucian scholar who was observing the battlefield. Blood was flying everywhere, and casualties continued to pile up. The demons are powerful. The Confucian scholar's eyes flickered. Suddenly, a sword flew out from his back and into the inn. The flying sword had made its move. The flying sword? At this time, the flying sword was like a silver snake, killing its way into the inn. Immediately, the white students retreated. At this moment, Captain Gray made his move. His body suddenly moved, and he punched out. Immediately, the wind and clouds surged, and the surroundings became boundless. A-rank martial art, angel fist, dang, dang, dang. His body was comparable to the speed of sound, and when he clashed head-on with the flying sword was actually unable to cut through his body. Hand of the Lord. Rumble. The air exploded like a bomb. Captain Gray punched out again, and the light of the flying sword dimmed. The silver snake-like flying sword was about to fly back, but he grabbed it and directly crushed it. Pooh! The Confucian scholar outside coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his body fell to the ground. Kill. The county magistrate is on the main street. Let's kill him and capture him. Gray looked at the shattered flying sword, but he didn't throw it away. If I reforge this thing, I can sell it for a lot of money. Flying swords, boring things. They're the dregs of that lowly Chinese civilization. After that, he punched out fiercely. A violent air current directly blew up the inn, and he directly led his people out. Dozens of soldiers were blasted by this ball of Scientian astral chi, and they were groaning on the ground. Retreat, retreat quickly. The demons are strong. Countless people retreated, and the county magistrate was surrounded by a group of white students who walked out of the inn. They didn't seem to care at all, as if they were in control of the situation. Demons from beyond the heavens, how dare you enter the territory of the Qin Empire? The god is watching. The county magistrate roared, God Emperor, please kill the demons. God Emperor, please kill the demons. God Emperor, please kill the demons. All the soldiers shouted in unison. God Emperor? What is this? What a joke. A bunch of natives, lowly things. I gave you face, but you don't want it. A captain who was on the same level as Captain Gray sneered. I will capture the county magistrate and take his head out of the thousands of soldiers to shock these natives. Go, Captain Harry. Captain Gray laughed loudly. These natives don't know what it means to be powerful. Whoosh! Captain Harry flew out at an extremely fast speed. However, just as he got close to the county magistrate, the sky shook and a bolt of lightning struck down. Its speed was many times faster than his. In just a moment, he was struck by the lightning, and then the heavenly thunder bombarded him, causing him to shake. It was actually a bolt from the blue. Large amounts of electric charges in the sky gathered together, forming a lightning cage. ZZZ. In just a few seconds, Captain Harry, a white man, turned into ashes. What happened? Why did lightning appear out of nowhere? Captain Gray was shocked. Looking at Captain Harry, who had turned into ashes, he was almost speechless. God Emperor, kill the demons. Under the leadership of the county magistrate, everyone shouted and prayed again. Their hearts seemed to have really moved the heavens. Immediately, dark clouds gathered in the sky, and thunder rumbled. Crackle. Dozens of lightning bolts fell and struck Captain Gray and the other white students. Damn it, how could this happen? Captain Gray flew up, and a bolt of lightning struck his body, charring his entire body black. As for the other students, they couldn't even react in time, and were struck until they cried out miserably and fell to the ground. The energy of this lightning was over 100 million volts, and it was impossible for their bodies to withstand it. Kill. Captain Gray flew into the sky and attacked the county magistrate, trying to find the source. However, at this moment, more lightning surged and appeared out of nowhere. A large amount of electric charges appeared around him, and even appeared in his body. Rumble. Gray's body spontaneously combusted in midair, and he screamed shrilly. In the end, he also turned into ashes. The swirling dust fell, indicating that this person had once existed in this world. On the ground, many students who were half dead from being struck by lightning were moaning, especially a few female students. How can these demons go against the majesty of the God Emperor? Men, capture these demons and cut off their hands and feet. I'll interrogate them. At the same time, appease the people and report this matter, the county magistrate ordered. Not long after, everything disappeared without a trace. The 3 invading squads were completely annihilated. It wasn't until dawn that this matter slowly calmed down. Jiang Li and Long Tianlang didn't move, watching the entire matter from the beginning to the end. This group of white students courted death, and no one can save them. Long Tianlang sneered. Do they really think that they can challenge the will of this planet? It's indeed a unique civilization, or rather, this is a healthy development of civilization, where humans and the mother planet progress together. Jiang Li said, just now, I felt that was indeed the will of heaven that gathered a large amount of electric charges and suddenly exploded with thunder and lightning, killing the enemy in one fell swoop. This is the result of humans communicating with heaven and earth, and the result of the continuous prayers of the entire dynasty for 20,000 years. It's indeed terrifying. It's good that this group of people died. The more white people die, the better. Xiao Kuang was very happy. It's best if all the white people die. This group of people might become the greatest enemy of humanity in the future. Indeed, Christians are unreasonable. Jiang Li agreed. We should be careful if we meet this type of white people in the future. Let's go. We'll take a boat to the imperial capital. Long Tianlang suggested. The situation now is very delicate. We can't act rashly. Let's go. This storm is a good thing for us. We've finally seen the power of the will of the planet. Jiang Li thought, I can probably imitate the temperament of the people of the Daqian Empire, and I won't show any flaws. Immediately, the 5 of them came to the riverside and boarded a large official's boat. It was very big and very stable. There were at least a few hundred boatmen rowing below, and on the boat were all scholars. Other than that, there were also some merchants who were all going to the imperial capital. Jiang Li and the other four completely blended into this group of people. Sometimes they even greeted each other, and as they conversed, it was as if he had become a member of the Qian Empire. Yuguzi, I heard that last night an extraterrestrial demon appeared in the county and was killed by God. A scholar of the Qian Empire waved his fan, looking at the scenery on both sides of the river and chatting with Jiang Li. Yes, I'm staying in that inn. The death of the extraterrestrial demon is not to be regretted. Jiang Li also waved his fan, looking indescribably romantic and elegant, like a scholar who had learned a lot. This time I'm traveling. The first is to broaden my horizons, the second is to hone my martial arts, and the third is to slay demons. This time, I also wanted to see the picturesque landscape of the Qian Empire. Ambitious. Now that the extraterrestrial demons are invading, it is a good time for us to make contributions. Another scholar of the Qian Empire walked over. Brother, let's go and have a drink. It is still very far from the imperial capital, and I heard that there are singers on the boat. Let's go and recruit a few to discuss poetry and admire the beauties. Wouldn't that be better? That's good. Jiang Li nodded his head, and he was very relaxed. This made Long Tianlang a little surprised. According to logic, people from two different civilizations definitely shouldn't interact with each other, in case there were flaws in their conversation. However, Jiang Li seemed to be born and raised in the Qian Empire. What they didn't know was that when Jiang Li went back to the cultivation world, he had a life experience. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.